Oh, shit. Chat, how we doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. Davey, thank you for the 10 gifted subs, bro. I appreciate it. 22 gifted subs to the channel. You are, in fact, a legend. Chat, I hope you guys are excited. We're going down some rabbit holes tonight that are going to be fucking crazy. And, you know, we got HOD, we got our buddy WildDew. Now, the two of them, in fairness, the two of them are probably a little more they're a little more bought into the juice, okay? So I am the one they have to convince. Now, I will say that there is some, I mean, when you talk about crazy coincidences, there are quite a few. I like holes, snail holes. Okay, I don't know about that one, bro. What's up, Keedy? No problem. But we are gonna go down some yeah, we're gonna go down some crazy rabbit holes here, and we'll see what happens. The two of them have been doing a lot of research, and I think it's gonna be a super interesting conversation. Can I pay about having to pay for the DLC again here? Reb, you can, but you're gonna have to answer some questions. Okay? Is that fair? Is that fair? All right. Complain about it first, and then I'll go from there. Chat, we're gonna be joining them in just a second. Just want to take a minute, say hello to everybody, see what you guys are doing, see how you been. We're gonna let Rev complain, and then we'll see what those guys are up to. What's up, Running Silver Wolf? How you doing, buddy? Hello. How entitled are you, actually? Sorry, Chid. Listen, it'll be on YouTube. You can watch the VOD. Okay? Damn, Rev must be typing up a fucking long ass message. Yo, Chid, thank you for the Prime 6. Chat, I have all of the things off again. All of the alerts. So if you do sub or follow or anything like that, it won't pop up. That's just so we can have a cleaner conversation, not be distracted. But I still love you and appreciate you. Thank you, Chid. Appreciate that very much. What's up, Sharp Eye? Snail Games is dog shit, shady, squeezing every penny out of us DJs for more money because they know we buying it no matter what. Easy. That's one of the best actual takes on the money part I've seen. I've seen a lot of bad ones. It was supposed to be free. I don't mind paying because it comes with Arc 2, but I don't want to have to pay another $90 for a game I already have. Okay, so here's my main question, Rev, and there's not a right answer to this. I just want your opinion. What amount of changes would have to happen in 1.5 for you to consider it enough of a quote-unquote new game? I mean, obviously it's still Arc, but a new enough it's not going to be new content, but new enough, quality of life, new enough stuff that you feel like it's worth paying for because it's not actually the same game anymore. How much? Like, what's the line? Where are we at? What would they have to do to make it worth buying it again? Because I don't think it's worth it if it were just slight beautification. I don't find that worth it. Right? I don't find that worth it. But if it runs way better, if the servers run way better, I'm not even gonna get into cheating because that's just, I'm not gonna put my stake on that. But you know what I mean? If it was if they do cave entrance fixes, if they again, I remember I'm coming at this from a PvP perspective, so a lot of the changes don't probably mean anything to PvE players. Chad, I'm sorry, I'm going to be making annoying noises all night with my throat hurting me. What would it take for it to be enough of a different experience? I won't say different game. Let's say different experience. What would it be? What's enough of a different experience to make it worth buying again? See, Dozer, I'm more along those lines as well. Just because the developer said they wanted it to be free, there's this thing called a publisher that says otherwise. Yeah, the thing is, you guys got to understand, normally publishers don't make those types of decisions. A publisher just publishes the game. They don't usually make those types of decisions. This is an interesting relationship because Snail's not just the publisher. That's what makes it weird. Just more maps. So no matter how much better, let's say that the stuff they've been talking about, which is like way faster load times, just better. The game will just run better no matter what your computer is, or run better on Xbox and PlayStation. No matter how much better the game runs, it's not enough to warrant buying it again. And I'm not saying buying it for the price they're asking. I just am saying any amount of money. Is there any amount of just better, like, for me, if that game runs way better, dude, I don't give a shit. No, it's not. This is, again, you're not paying to fix it. This is not fixing broke shit. This is upgrades that they couldn't have done before. That only UE5 offers. What's up, Mama Bear? Yeah, lady, I saw that as well. He basically shares my opinion, but he also comes at it the way I do, from like a little bit of a PvP like tilt. I think. What's up, creature? Yo, Major Buzz, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you. Again, we've got the things turned off for today, just so that we aren't distracted while we're trying to have a conversation. Let's see if we can get WildDew in here. Oh, there he is. Look at that fine motherfucker. Is he muted? I think I'm muted. Hello?
Hello.
Holy shit, your head is shining. I cut my hair today, bro. It's way shorter, but it's not that short. It is not that short. All right, let's see if
man, you're getting there.
Yeah, when you hit a certain age, you're just like, well, it's gonna look stupid all the time. Might as well cut it. Let's see if HOD's ready. I was gonna say start at 8, but since he's awake, that was mostly just for him because it's like 10 in the morning for him or something. I think right now, like 9:40 in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like 14 hours ahead of us or something crazy. Rev, my opinion, I agree with that. I think that if they're gonna try to charge you for the DLC, I think the cost should be more like $24.99 or possibly $39.99. But they should also add in the new map with the new dinos. I think if they're gonna charge you for the DLC, either give me all the old DLC for less. $24.99 doesn't seem that bad because it's like 5 or 6 DLC. And then, well, first of all, I think Scorched Earth should be included in the base game. That's because that's the only 2 maps starting with, so I think that's stupid. So I think the base game for 50 or whatever should be Island and Scorched, And then if they wanted to do the DLC, then it should include the brand new map and 4 new dinos, and the total price should be like, I don't know, $24.99 or you know, somewhere between there. Then I wouldn't have nearly the same problem with it. This mother effer. Damn HOD. Damn Australians. An engine isn't changing how static mesh works. Actually, it does a lot, Zeal Avenger. If you read into UE5's change with what you call it, it's actually quite a lot. Doesn't mean it's gonna fix it, but it does change quite a lot. Hello? An audio check? WildDew said hi already. WildDew, talk to me.
Check, check.
There you go, bro. I heard you. Yo, somebody go in HOD's chat and tell him to come on. Tell him I'm ready for him to take me. I know how UE5 works. Well, then you already know that what you just said isn't true. Yo, Ram, thank you for the 2 gifted subs, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Honey. I don't actually know if you guys can see that. There is so much here. We have so many tabs open, it's not even close. Literally like 40 tabs open right now. Okay, he's finishing up a video and then he's ready. Then he's ready. About to fire up some small land. I wonder if small land will be good if they yeah, it's quiet because I don't have any music running. We're just waiting on HOD, then we'll be good. We're just waiting on him to be done and then we're good. Holy crap, I hate being sick. This is an Atlas stream? Hell no. What's up, Phobia? my leader in Atlas quit on me, so can't do it now. Anyone played that small land game? Yeah, Cobra did, or Cobra is, I think he said. Wasn't that Cobra that said that? Yeah, it was.
Yellow.
Yellow.
Yellow. Why is my webcam not working now?
You probably still have your webcam set up in OBS, right?
Yeah, I turned it off again. Let's see. Off there. How did we fix this last time? Maybe if I close Discord and start it again, that might fix it.
Maybe. I had to close OBS and then start.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not
Maybe if I
good.
go... Oh, no, there we go. My camera's coming up. Turn on camera. That might help. There we go.
That would help.
You know, turn the on button on. Kick it a couple times.
All right, talk for me,
All right.
HOD.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. How's the volume, chat? Willie, you say something as well, Willie. I'll just check you on my stream.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna have any problem hearing me. I'm always loud, super loud.
And Jew?
Check 1 2 check.
Check. C-Man says your Willie is soft.
Wow.
He says
I don't think he's talking about my voice, though, to be honest.
Hillbilly. Do you know, I tried to put in my stream title, I was like, streaming Talking Arc News with Hillbilly. And then Twitch is like, no, you cannot say Hillbilly in your stream title. Yeah, and so I was like, why didn't my stream title change? It was like, no, it's a banned word. So I'm surprised you can still use that as your
I can't even use it in my own stream titles.
Really? I can use Billy, though.
It'll stop me from doing it. I've done Redneck before. It does the same thing.
That's funny. That's so funny.
All right, so we're going to talk for as long as you guys are down to talk and we have something to talk about, all about our good buddies over at Snail Games and how that applies to all that we've learned. And just for the audience, there's going to be a lot of speculation and maybe some reaching here, but it's all... I will say that almost everything you will hear is at least in the realm of possibility. I'm not going to say that... I think WildDew or HOD are probably like the furthest down the conspiracy theory trail, I would say. And I think I'm like tagging along, but not like quite as committed yet. So I think their job is to pull me completely down the rabbit hole.
I'm going to convert
today.
you.
Yeah, you're converting me today. But
we're going to convert him, Jew.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
that's our mission.
You may just convert me by sheer amount of information that I get dumped on me, because dude was dumping on me earlier, and I was like,
"Oh, that sounds hot."
Wow. Yeah, well, yeah.
What, is that what you guys did when I left the stream?
Yeah, that's what we did while we were waiting on you to wake up.
Oh man, I'm glad I wasn't here for that. I'm glad we went streaming when Jew was dumping on you.
So just remember, chat, okay, that very little of what you hear that we don't read off or show you specifically is 100% proven. All right, so don't go start Willie and Dew and HOD promised this and that and the other. Okay, nobody is promising that. We just take it for what it is. I mean, be sucked into the rabbit hole with us, but use your brains. Okay, we're all art players, so not all of us have that, that much computing power in there. But just use as much as you can, and let's look at it objectively. Okay. So, with that being said, HOD, you've sort of started this whole thing with your first video a couple of months back. Like, hit me with your... Well, let's do two. Hit me with your craziest conspiracy around She-Hi or Hi-She or whatever his name is.
So the craziest thing with She-Hi is that he gets his employees to play Ark, and he uses them as slaves, Willie. That's the craziest thing in this whole story. If you look at that, there's a lawsuit. You guys saw the lawsuit. I need to pull it up. I'll pull it up in a minute. But he literally calls his employees slaves, and he makes them play the game for him, and then he coerces Wildcard to do his bidding and cheat and DDoS his servers down. That's the craziest. That's the full extent of it. Do you believe that, Willie?
Okay, so
you've seen it firsthand. How can you deny?
That's not even the crazy shit. That
That's
stuff.
pretty crazy.
Well, yes, but like you said, I was inadvertently and unknowingly there for some of that. So yeah, I can
Yep.
believe all of that, 100%. Now here, this is 100%. I am speculating 100%. But there was a time, when okay, so basically, I'll give you the short version for anybody who may not know. Back in the day, right after Legacy, I went from Xbox back to PC because I bought a new PC, and I ended up with my buddy Grizz and our buddy Thornton. We just picked a random island because we didn't know any better, and it happened to be 165, which was T's server. T was super friendly. We were idiots.
Yep.
We had no clue. Bob's to 100%. And occasionally they would like let us show up and do stuff like defend or whatever. Like they would just like allow us to be part of whatever they were doing. And there was this one guy that would always show up, and he was always the one yelling and leading. But he used a he used a voice changer, and he had the highest pitched voice of all time.
That was She-Hi.
That's what I'm. That's there you go. There's my conspiracy theory part of that part. I think She-Hi was running around yelling like a child. I mean, like audibly, it sounded like a child because he had the voice changer on. There you go.
Yep. So that's it. So it comes back to the same thing. So that's part of it. So She-Hi would use a voice changer in game, so that no one knew what he was, but his name was T, and that was his tribe. And most of the tribe consisted of his employees. And there's this lawsuit. Let me try and bring it up. Oh, where was I reading it? I'll have to have a look in a second. But this
you have to, Master.
employee assistant
you know what I mean?
to She-Hi. Hey, I think
Black butterfly pepper in
But anyway, his assistant in the lawsuit claims that
I don't know if you're talking about them in Atlas, but
her to play with him and his wife and do their bidding in Ark, like as part of her job.
Do you know what her name was? In game?
In game, no, I don't know what her in-game name was, but I've got it on my phone. Maybe I'll bring it up on my phone.
Wait, Black.
But she literally in part of her lawsuit, she's saying like
it wasn't
I had
Black
to go
Flag.
And go to his house and play video games with him and his wife and do their bidding in the video game.
It was some other guys we had met who kept their name when we merged with them.
And he yelled at her, "Get off the couch, slave!" Like that's how he treated her. He calls them slaves. Like there's literally, this isn't my words. This is in the lawsuit, and this is in those leaked DMs from my original video, which I'll bring up. So he often calls even Peter Kang, like he calls him slave in game. And he just treats everyone like that's what they are. Where is it? So that was in this video here 3 months ago, and this was all about She-Hi cheating in Ark Survival Evolved and using. It basically comes down to Snail Games using their influence over wildcards to exploit and cheat in the game. And it was crazy. Some of these screenshots. I don't know. Did you see this, Willie?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. That was the one.
Yeah.
Where they admitted that he like had Jeremy like roll back servers for him.
Yeah, he had Jeremy roll back.
I was there where that happened twice.
That's probably one of the crazier things, and I think that's where all this comes from. It comes back to the fact that She-Hi uses, because they bought out Studio Wildcard. Jeremy Steiglitz had a lawsuit against him, and in that lawsuit, he was taken to court because he did some dodgy stuff and started making Ark when he wasn't supposed to. And because of that, they got bought out by Snail Games. Snail Games owns their ass and then exploits their ass, for whatever they want. They're smacking that butt all around, you know what I mean? They're messing up that ass. And it's filthy. It's a filthy ass, you know what I'm saying, Hillbilly? Anyway, so they're doing the dodgy, and that's what it comes down to is that Snail Games forces Wildcard to do all these dodgy things, and that comes back to where we are today, where Jeremy said, let's see what Jeremy said. He said, Ark's going to be a free upgrade on Unreal Engine 5, and then they changed their tone literally like months later. Do you know what I mean?
So let me ask you this. Do you think that he said that knowing that was bullshit?
Nope. That's the thing. I think Jeremy said that because he believed. Jeremy believed that at the time, and that's what they thought was going to happen. And then we got to their investors call on the 29th of March, and they said, "Yo, investors, we're bringing out Ark 2 this year." And then they had the roadmap just days later, and they're like, "Nope, it's not coming out this year," because Snail talked finally talked to Wildcard. I would say they've got horrendous communication, is my theory. And they finally talked to each other, and Wildcard's like, nope, it's not coming out this year. And so they had to quickly think of a way to sell Arc 2 without selling Arc 2 coming out this year, you know what I mean? And so therefore they combined it with Arc Unreal Engine 5, called it its own thing, and thought that's going to be fine. We'll say it's another game. People won't have a problem with that. And that's how we get to
Yeah,
this point.
T and Black Butterfly Arc and
To
that
cover
was...
their butt.
Okay. Dude, you want to give us your take on that? Do you agree with HOD's? By the way, we should keep saying allegedly.
Allegedly.
Some of that wasn't alleged. Some of that definitely did happen, but some of it is alleged.
In Minecraft.
Yeah, in Minecraft.
Allegedly, technically, SDE Inc. bought Wildcard first. They merged into Snail Games. There was a lawsuit for a smaller amount because Jeremy owed his former company $6.5 million. So him and his wife sold all their assets to this company. And essentially, they're like the spokespeople of Wildcard. So they're just somebody to be a face for the name, essentially, is what I've came out of it.
Yeah.
They don't really exist anymore, right? SDE's kind of been...
Yeah, they merged into Snail Inc.
Yeah, so it's
or
basically...
Snail Games, whatever.
So do you agree with HOD's
100%.
assessment that this is basically down to money in some way, shape, or form?
Money is a good chunk of it. I wouldn't say it's all of it. I think there's something else inside of that. They're wanting not only money, but they're wanting to create the next big thing. Like, sure, Arc was their big project where they gotten big and they've grown and made millions and millions of dollars, but they're wanting to hit that next threshold. They're wanting to be the first game that incorporates NFTs, or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
And you still think that that's something? I mean, we can go over the stuff you have, but do you still think that NFTs are something you really want to do? Because everything that we saw about it, right, was at this point decently old. We haven't seen any new info.
That is correct. We don't have any new info, but we do have Snail's website portfolio, whatever you want to call it, with the interview with Shiha saying, hey, I do want to incorporate NFTs into Arc or Arc Ascended or whatever game that they do that's based off of Arc, which I think 100% that's going to be Ascended. Yeah.
So April 26th of last year. Okay.
So the thing is, at their last quarter financial year, they were down 30% on their earnings, Willie. So this is end of 2022 Q4 financials. We've got it on their website now because we can see everything. And they were down 30%. And so I think they're just trying to fill the gaps and keep that gravy train going. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then being told that Arc 2 can't come out this year, they've had to panic and push something out to the investors, especially because they lied days before saying Arc 2 was coming this year. And that's why we get this point. It's greed, not need, because they're still making 15 million, Willie. So they made 15 million in just the last quarter of 2022. So they're still making money.
Right, but I mean, if we do look at it, if you look at the entirety, not just the fourth quarter, their net income for the year was only $1 million, which is still
compared to 8 million.
Yeah, we say only $1 million, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
comparatively,
but
it's
I
still
think
a lot
that's
less.
Do you think that's because I believe that's probably because of their animated series and things like that they've started to release? And
no,
so
I don't think so yet. I think it's because they kind of go into it. If you read again, I can only take this at face value. I mean, like, I just read what it says and determine, like, yeah, okay, I could see that working, or no, that sounds like complete horseshit. But it basically says that because in 2022, in 2021, which is 2 years, Gen 2 released, right? Wasn't that 2021? Anybody know the date on that?
Can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was, at least according to this. It says that if that's true, if that's correct, and it released in 2021, then obviously they would have seen a huge, bump in sales in 2021. They also did. So here, let me just read the whole thing. Well, you can read it. If you got it pulled up, but it says revenue was 74.4 million, a decrease of 32 million or 30%, like you said, compared to the year ending 2021. The decrease in net revenue was due to a decrease in sales of art, which is attributed to the age of the game, an increase in the number of free week promotions run in 2022, and the Genesis 2 release in 2021. There were no DLC releases in 2022 or free download promotions in 2021. They did a bunch of free download promotions in 2022, and they had Genesis 2 in 2021. So like it does make a little bit of sense. And how much of the money difference is somebody else's who's good at math to figure out, but it makes sense that 2021 would be down a significant margin because they, like you said, they had nothing to sell this last year because I think the assumption might have been that we were getting Arc 2 sooner than we are.
And COVID and stuff as well.
What's up, Fat Beard? How you doing?
There was lots of extra sales during that. But would you say they need the money? I think that's not even the issue here, really, is that we don't have a problem paying for it. That's fine. I think the problem is, Jeremy's saying one thing, he's saying it's going to be free, and then we get a couple months later and they're saying it's not going to be free, and then making us pay up for Arc 2 combined with that. And even saying in the statement, this is for you guys who don't want the Dark Souls combat and et cetera, et cetera. You can tell that Wildcard's worried about Arc 2 and they're worried about how it's going to be received. And so it just feels like, they're just strong-arming us and forcing us to get the product. And I believe it's more Snail Games doing that just to save their bottom dollar because they're used to making this crazy amount of money and they want to keep that going. And especially with like their extra expenses from the animated series, developing Arc 2 obviously is going to be expensive. They've got a lot more going on, but I don't think it's right for them to come and make us pay for it all and fund it through coercive means. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And would you not say, Willie, that the way they're doing this is coercive?
I think
it's anti-consumer. Would you not say by closing the servers on Arc 1? That's the problem, don't you think?
Yes, I have a couple of problems. I think I think the price. So as we've gone for a few days and I've argued back and forth with some different people and gotten some different perspectives. I think it comes down to like 2 or 3 major pieces. One of them being what you said, they're taking the servers down. I look at it like this, okay? I think that best case scenario, they should leave up the servers and then sunset them, over how many ever months. Let's say 4 to 6 months, okay? I think reality tells us though that so if we take what they've said, and again, we're taking this at face value, so I don't want to read a bunch of lull delivery, but if they deliver what they're talking about in whenever they deliver it, and we have Xbox, PlayStation, and PC on one cluster, or we don't even know if they're going to do small tribes yet, but let's just say it's on one cluster. The amount of servers they'll need to handle that is going to be massive because I truly believe, at least for PvP, we're going to see a pretty large return in player base when 1.5 hits. As a PvP player, if all you were asking me was my opinion about this from PvP perspective, and I didn't have to consider our communities and anybody else who doesn't play PvP, for me, this is 100% a win. I'm 100% willing to pay how much ever it costs almost to get Arc 1 again from the beginning where we all loved it with no tech. Like I would pay that every day, no problem.
Yep.
Because for me, that's when this game was the best, and I would pay for that experience again because honestly, what other games are giving us anything even remotely like this? That's from my perspective as an official PvP player, almost exclusively. Okay?
Yep.
But I think it is, so when I look at it, I go, bro, they're going to need, I already know of like hundreds of players in the first 3 days who are already planning to come back. There's already Discords being built and made and from old tribes who don't even exist anymore, like getting ready for this 1.5. So part of me goes, yes, they should have sunset it. But another part of me goes, dude, the amount of new servers they're going to need, at least for the first couple of weeks, is going to be insane. Like, don't you agree it's going to be a nutty amount of people the first couple of weeks?
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be good. It's like, Unreal Engine 5 update is going to be great, but it's just the way they've presented it. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing. That's
And I
the whole
do
issue
think,
here.
well, I do think that they are overcharging for the DLC by a lot.
By a lot, yeah.
I just got someone at the door. Back in 1 sec.
No problem. I wouldn't have a problem with it, if it was also including the new DLC.
Right,
think
because the new
you wanna-
DLC
you
is
wanna-
coming Q.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yep. No. I just, if you're gonna give me all the DLC plus the brand new one and with the 4 new dinos and whatever, I don't hate that as much. That feels less shitty than, $40 for what I already owned.
Well, I hate to make you feel more shitty, but they need to clarify something in their patch. And I could be misreading it, but the way that they announced it for Ark Survival Ascended or whatever you want to call it is it's going to be the island only, and they added later on that it's island and Scorched Earth. So are we going to have to buy Scorched Earth separately because it was a separate DLC in the original game?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think this is another big thing that we're gonna have to just assume happened, and that because of how much info was in this post, I think they probably got some stuff wrong.
Right.
And
Yep.
maybe they didn't. Maybe they just didn't think it through that far. That could be possible. But I think it's very likely that they either left some stuff out accidentally, or just literally just didn't consider some of the things. One of the two. So I feel like they're gonna make that change. I think if they did, I think it would be a different thing if they did the island and Scorched as part of the bundle with Ark 2. You know what I mean? Because that's what you need to start playing the game. I agree with you that it's really stupid if they say, okay, you have to buy the base game, plus you have to buy Scorched, which comes out the same day as the base game, but it's part of
That's
a
what
DLC.
we're worried about.
Oh,
Yeah,
so that
I
comes
agree.
out the $20 we have to pay at the same time as the 50.
In theory,
Yeah,
again, what
I
I
didn't know
what I
that.
was just saying to do was that it's possible that they, that there is a lot of info in that crunch. It is possible that there were some things that they, left out accidentally. They meant to edit and didn't get around to it, forgot, and just needed to put it out because they had already told us a million times it's going to be on the 31st. It's possible that
Yeah.
they just got some of it wrong or misspoke or whatever. But I feel like they're going to need to do a bunch of updating.
And I think that's one of the biggest problems, really, is that they're charging for all the extra DLCs again. You know what I mean? I
agree.
think that's another thing that people are really mad about, is because they're having their cake and eating it too. It's just like, it's so unprecedented to do this. Like, if it was just a down payment of $50, I don't think people would be so mad. But from them to have the goal to be like, you have to pay 20 and then another 20 again, and we're just gonna milk you for everything. Like, at the end of the day, it's still expansions in a game that we've played previously. It's going to be a fair bit different, I would say. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's still going to be, it'll be great. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited for it. But again, just for me, it's just the way they've done it and delivered
Yeah.
it.
I think it's much different for those of us who play official PvP. Like, it
Yeah.
just has to be. Like, because I don't have, it sucks. Like, obviously, I'd rather not pay for it all again. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I'm like, I'll do it in a heartbeat because this is the game
Yeah.
that I've spent 20,000 hours in. And if I get another shot at what made this game great in the beginning, like what the thing that like made me fall in love with it, then yeah, I'm down. Like, and that's the part that's kind of hard to do because, it is shitty for a lot of people who I don't consider to be me, like in my position of what I want out
Yeah.
of the game.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's easy for us as like content creators and stuff to, that's not a huge investment. That's fine. But for your average Joe, just playing out casually, that's a lot of money, really, as well.
Let me ask you this:
Well,
and I've been asking this question to everybody. Sorry, go ahead, dude. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, luckily, I'm the casual person in this whole conversation because I work full time and I play this game maybe once or twice a week, So for me, like,
Yeah.
to rebuy this game $50 and then I got to spend another $50-$60 for DLCs to play once a week, it's a lot of money out of my pocket to maybe like it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's the problem. Yeah. And then just compound it with what Jeremy said, saying it was going to be free and then doing a full 180. It's just poor. And they just haven't, like, the reason that I know it's Snail Games, I mean, in Minecraft, know it's Snail Games, is
Allegedly.
because allegedly, is because they just don't have awareness. They don't see it like us. They're looking at it from a business perspective, and they don't see the result and the poor, perception that this is going to get, and they don't care because Wildcard for the most of this time has always taken the brunt of it. You know what I mean? Who have we always blamed, Willie, for like whenever anything's gone wrong? It's always been Wildcard. You know what I mean? For most
Yeah.
of the time, half the time. Now it's sort of coming out. We're realizing that it's more Snail Games than anything else, but they just don't care, and they're just businessmen. Like Shihai is living in California in his Beverly Hills mansion. You know what I mean? With this
Wait,
employee that he's
do
getting to
we
play.
know that he lives at Beverly
Yeah,
Hills?
yeah. From that lawsuit, yeah. So they don't care. They don't see any of this. They just see the dollar signs. And that's the problem. It's like you remember when Battlefront came out, Willie, a few years back, and
Mm-hmm.
they had really poor, like they had microtransactions out the kazoo. There was just nothing in there that the consumer wanted, and it's just always the publishers because they're just after the bottom line. And again, it comes down to like them just wanting to make profit and not seeing the customers.
Yeah.
So that's the issue.
Okay.
It's going to be good, but it's poorly done, and
Allegedly.
Snail Games is super dodgy. And I feel for Wildcard. I honestly feel for Wildcard being stuck in this situation. Imagine you're working for an employee like Snail Games as your boss, Willie. Imagine that. And at every turn, you're trying to make this great game that you're really proud of, and then you've got these greedy corporate Chinese overlords just at every turn, just like trying to cash in on what you're doing and milk it for all it's worth and giving you horrendous press.
Turns
Do you
out
think
it was Jeremy and
you go?
Jesse playing in T. You didn't know?
Yeah. Imagine. Do you
That would
think
be funny.
that it's well? That's the thing. Do you think we're blaming everything on Snail Games when it actually is partially like Wildcard as well in there?
I think this is where I am probably more like even about it. I'm sure it's both. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no way to really know because unless Jeremy or Jesse get really super fed up and just come out and flat throw them under the bus,
Yeah.
or vice versa, we'll never know.
Well, did you see Jat? Have you ever had any run-ins with Jat? Like
Yeah.
he's a
Uh-huh.
real one, and he was the one that talked to PC Gamer on the behalf of Wildcard. They've actually had a slight response saying, I'll see if I can bring it up here,
Yeah. Link that
that
to
the
me if you don't
Unreal,
mind.
yeah, this one has just come out. Where was it? Jade. And they were saying that basically the short is that like Jat's saying that the Unreal Engine 5 upgrade is way more investment than they originally thought, and that Jeremy spoke too early. I can't find the article, but I'll have a look for
That,
it.
to me, that actually makes sense. And I've said this before, and I got sort of reamed for it because everybody just wants to assume it's money. But in my
Yeah,
mind, so especially if we go back, and me and Dew did the timeline for it. So they announced the game. When did they announce the game? 2020.
Yep.
And then they
April.
announced. I don't know when the announcement came from Unreal, but somewhere around 2022, April of 2022, they officially released at least the first version. Now, it's possible that Wildcard had access to it before that, but we know that April 5th of 2022, they announced that they were building it with UE5. And then we know that they announced, or what is it? What does it say exactly? Dude? Read me what it said exactly, because it doesn't say build the first time. It say powered by
does not.
UE5.
It says powered by UE5 the first time.
Okay, and this could be just the person writing it up. It could mean nothing. But the second time is in June, and in June it says built in UE5. And my like best guess is that at some point, so because people are saying like, what in the hell have they been doing for 2 years or 3 years? Like, why are we seeing nothing but some concept art still? I feel like they probably had begun their process of developing the game, and again in UE4, then found out that UE5 was going to be an option, and at some point, wherever in 2022, made that decision that they were now going to basically stop what they had been doing and scrap it, or there's no way to really know this, but they were gonna then move over and build it in UE5. So if that even makes any amount of sense, which I think it makes enough sense to at least consider it, then they've only been building this since like April at the most, which again would imply there's no chance in hell we were ready to see gameplay, and it would explain why we've only seen concept art, because from April or June till now is just 9-10 months or whatever, or well, it's a little more now, it's like 12 months, like a year. But it would explain a little more as to why we feel like there's still nothing of value that we've seen. And it also sort of goes to then your point that is, well, yeah, if we now realize, like you said, that UE5 is going to be a bigger investment, or like Jad had said, and that it's not as simple, then yeah, maybe we do need more money now, because it's going to just be more time. I think that all makes sense.
And that makes sense, and that's fine. The problem is they haven't said it. They just need to come out and have better optics. The problem with Wildcard forever has been that they've got poor communication. And Sed came in after remembering I got banned for meshing and stuff. We got Sed as a community manager. They got rid of bubbly ones, and the communication got slightly better. But now they seem to have reverted to not communicating with the community. I can't even remember who the new community manager is. Do you remember her name? There's a new community manager. I don't even remember her name for the life of me.
I could have told you if you didn't ask.
Yeah.
But I can't think of another Jasper.
Yeah.
Svalar, I think.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, they need to have someone announcing these things. All it would have taken was someone to come out and say, hey, sorry, guys, or Jeremy to say, hey, guys, after looking into it, I realize I can't do this for free. It's taking too much of our resources, la-di-da-da-da. Give us the whole story. Give us the song and dance. Be dramatic. Milk us for it. We won't mind. We'd rather that than just being told nothing.
They don't even have to milk us. He literally could have just said, I made this statement. I jumped the gun a little bit. It's not as simple as I thought it was going to be. After talking to the team, we're probably not going to be able to offer it for free, but you're going to get way more than we were originally planning to give you. And then that'll be laid out in the roadmap.
See, you've sold me, Willie. I'm in. Yep. Give it to me. I'm in. Give me what you're selling. See, that's as simple as it would be. That's it. I'm sold. But they didn't do that, and that's why it's Snail Games. Do you see that now, Willie? That Snail Games has their hands tied and locked. They're under NDAs. Do you not think that I 100% believe that Wildcard, the members like Dolly, Jat, Jeremy, etc., would come out and say something if they could. But I believe that they're under NDAs from Snail Games where they can't come out and say certain things. Do you know what I mean? So do you see the Snail Games yet?
I mean, I would say that's... it could be true 100%, but it's not.
Tell me off, soldier.
You
hate Snail Games.
You don't sell. That doesn't sell me that it's Snail.
The CCP is
that
coming.
Could just be Wildcard being bad at communication, or maybe they've learned. Like, I hate to say this, but maybe they've learned that they can just not tell us shit, and we'll bitch about it and moan about it for a month, and then the game will come out, and because it's still, unfortunately, like one of the only games that ever lived up to what all of us kind of like in a survival game, that we'll just piss and moan while we buy it and play it. Like, it could be that for me as well. Like, that they just don't communicate because it doesn't help them, because no matter what they say, somebody's pissed off.
Help them, though.
I agree that it would in this case, for sure. Yeah, I agree in this case.
And I think now that Snail Games stock is public, it's a whole different ballgame. They used to be able to ignore it, and it would just be Steam reviews. Like, we bombed their Steam reviews a few times, and we got stuff changed. Like when I got banned and there was a huge outcry, they fixed meshing, or attempted to fix it, and they had a big campaign against it. And I think this time they'll do something. There's got to be something they do, and I think if the community has a big enough outcry, it does make a difference. And especially now that we can see their stocks, we can definitely see it's having an effect. And I just hope that Wildcard can come out and say something. Do you think that Wildcard would want this, Willie? Like, if they're not coerced by Snail Games? There's no way. Do you think that, knowing them, that they would do this knowingly and willingly?
I mean,
That's my question, I guess.
I think to me, even you can say that like Snail Games just doesn't give a crap, but it's still this is still the one place you make all your money. I feel like even they would not like
Yeah.
I can't buy into the fact that they're just like, I don't care what they think. Don't tell them shit.
Well, that's
like,
why I think it's the shareholders thing, really. If they've come out to their shareholders days before and said, we're getting Arc 2 this year, our flagship game is coming out this year, and then 2 days later, you've got your development team coming out and saying, no, it's 2024. You can't do that. Like, there's some legalities there, don't you think? And
Yeah,
that's why I think they've scrambled to cover their butts.
I think we
So
should jump into
technically-
that here in just a second.
Yeah,
I do
we
want to
have a
ask you
question
one
about-
more thing though. This is a very small thing, but it's weird to me that they don't address any of it. Like, there may be something they can address, but they won't even answer whether or
Exactly.
not Epic is going to be included.
Yep. That's why it's weird, Willie, because they can't answer you because they're under NDAs. Like, I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat here. I should literally put a tinfoil hat on my avatar or something because it sounds like conspiracy theories, but I think we're onto something here with the snail. They hide under rocks, Willie. You know, Wildcard's their rock. They're underneath it, you know.
We just
It
need
all makes
some
sense.
real life I see
Well,
right
do you know
through those
snails?
rocks.
Yeah. And do you know snails are really kinky apparently? And like I was like Googling snail games last night and
Okay.
there was about snails having like kinky sex. So I think that's why Snail Games is named. Like, why else would you name it like that? Like, they're having, they're getting kinky with us. It's all there. It's written on the wall, Willie. It all makes
Is
sense.
that what it is?
It's got to be
All right.
why they're doing the naked short sailing, right?
Oh shit! True.
Exactly. It's written
It's
on
all
the wall.
starting to make sense now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about what you were just saying about the investor call.
Yep. Okay.
So, dude,
So-
give us the back before, because this is the investor call was what day? The 27th, I think.
The 29th. I'll bring it up. So on the 29th, Snail had an investor call, which we can see by going to Snail Games website. I don't know if you brought it up there, Willie.
I have it.
I'll give
not on the
I'll
screen
give you a
yet,
link
but
to it.
I've got like 50 things over here.
Yep,
50
I'll send it
tabs
to you.
just going through.
I've just put it in the Discord.
Yeah.
Okay, so Snail had an investor call on the 29th of March. Now, this is, when did we get the announcement? On the 1st of April.
31st
So-
for everybody but you, futures.
Yeah.
Future living.
So it's at most it's 3 days later. We had an announcement saying that Arc 2 is going to be 2024. In this announcement, in this conference call with their shareholders, they say their flagship game Arc 2 is going to be released in 2024. I'll bring it up and I'll put it on
Okay,
stream.
before you do that, dude, give us
Yep.
that. Give us the info leading up to that, because some interesting things happened in March before we even got there.
You want to start with that day or the few days before?
No. Start at the beginning of March. Several
Oh,
things
that March
happened.
1st. All right. So March 1st, they delayed their financial results to March 22nd. So March 22nd comes around, they also delay their financial results to, guess what? The 29th or the 31st, whenever they finally released it.
Meaning they pushed back the meeting that HOD's talking about,
Correct.
basically from the 1st to the 22nd, and then pushed it back again to the 29th. Or the
Correct.
20, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then in between all of that, on the 27th, there was a offer letter to Shihai to be a director on the board. He is underneath Jim C. Sai, however the hell you want to say his name, is the executive officer now.
Okay. Do the other thing, though. The thing that's actually more interesting is that, so after they pushed back the meeting twice, let me find it.
It's like there was so much in between
Oh,
that
the,
little like 7-day window.
The share intel investigation.
Oh,
link to this?
right. Yeah, one sec.
Sweet.
So on the 20th, there was an investigation to abusive and illegal naked short selling for their stocks. And this is basically right after their stocks went live.
Yep.
They hired somebody to investigate somebody brokering, dealing their shareholders. Basically, bad management. Currently, that's all we know is that it's being investigated.
You can't, Hatred. Okay, so you want my best conspiracy theory? Are you ready for this? I'm gonna take you somewhere you weren't expecting to go. So you remember that? Was it? I don't know. Several months ago, maybe over a year now. Remember Myth of Empires? Okay, remember that Snail, Wildcard, whoever went after Myth of Empires for basically stealing the proprietary
code. Yep.
Yeah, code. So what if, and this is probably not true at all, but this is way more fun to do, as you guys get to do this with all the other stuff. What if this is some of the disgruntled employees at Myth of Empires short selling to drive the stock price down for Snail before the announcement of their 2022 financials?
I guess it's technically possible since they worked for Snail. It's definitely possible.
I don't think it's probable. Hilarious.
No,
but it is interesting. It is interesting that much. So you could push the meaning back a couple of times. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. But when you put it together with the fact that then, do you have a way to play the audio? Do you remember where they said that it was coming out specifically?
Yeah, I'm going to bring that up now.
Okay.
So if you bring it up, we'll go to the timestamp. Yep. It's around 10 minutes.
Actually, wait. Where can you link us the actual video?
Yeah, it's in. One sec. I think you'll have to sign in. You have to.
Oh, you do have to sign in?
You have to sign in for it. Yep.
All right. Well, then you just listen and tell us when it is. I'm not signing in webcast. But you've already done that, I assume. So I'll let you just tell us what it is.
Yeah. So I think it was 10 minutes.
Dude needs a hat. What's up, Ray Boss? How you doing, bro? What's up, Bruce?
9 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna log in if I have to log in. I'll let you just tell us exactly what he says when you get a second. He's getting the hat. What's up, Tony? Nice hat, brother.
Later this year, we expect to release our flagship title, Arc 2. That was the worst Chinese accent. But later this year, we expect to release our flagship title, Arc 2, is what they say.
They said that on the 29th, which is literally 2 days before the post gets written, that it won't be till at least and they literally say the end of 2024. Right? Like, isn't that what the post said? Like,
the post said, and then 2 days later, 3 days later at most, they came out with their roadmap. That was Snail Games that said that in an investor call. And then 3 days later, Wildcard says end of 2024. So there's got to be some legalities there. Like, that is why we're getting this, Willie. Can you not see the writing on the wall yet, Willie? Like, how you got to put 2 and 2 together and see 1 + 1 equals a window. You know what I mean?
That what
and see through that window. Yeah, you can see through that window now, Willie. We've opened your eyes. Put that tinfoil hat on, Willie. Break one of those cans open and put it on your head. Come on, Willie. Join the dark side. Really, it's the light side.
In closer. Closer. There's a guy in my chat named Hatgoon who brings up a really stupid point, and I'm just going to read it out to embarrass him for being such a dumbass. He said, "Good God, go after Snail Games because you can't play a video game that you probably have 20,000 plus hours in." I just wanted to read that so other people who were about to type stupid shit in anybody's chat can hear what it's like when your dumbass comment is read out loud. Just don't type it.
That's the reason. We're bad at the game, Willie, so that's why we say this stuff. He's exposed. I've probably got to end stream now because I'm just been massively exposed by that comment.
Well, you should probably end stream because of that accent you attempted.
Yeah, that's true.
You should probably delete the VOD. But okay, so dude, why would they lie? Why would
Why
they
would they lie?
lie to their investors? Because there's no way they didn't know. I mean, I think
Well,
we have to agree they knew, right? Like everybody agrees there's no way they didn't know.
Yep.
yeah,
Okay.
there's no way they didn't know.
So why would
Well,
they tell their investors that?
no, well, I think they had poor communication with Wildcard. I feel like that Wildcard and Snail Games didn't communicate before this investors call. They got on that investor call, and Wildcard probably heard it there, heard them saying that to the other investors, and that's probably when everything hit the fan. I would say that's my theory, is that they just have really poor communication.
So you actually think that they didn't know that they actually thought it was coming out this year?
Yeah, there's no way you go into an investor call and not
No.
check.
There's
No,
no
yeah.
chance in
If that's the
fucking
case,
hell.
then they're going to get a huge lawsuit from any investors. All we need to do is get in contact with someone who's got Snail stock, and they can start a class action
Yeah,
lawsuit that they've
HD.
been
We're gonna
lied
talk
to.
about that in just a second.
But then now they can't, because they're technically getting Arc 2 because it's tied in with Arc Survival Ascended. You know what I mean? That's how they're covering their butts.
Correct.
Yeah.
What if that's what they meant all along? What if it's just a clever way to phrase it?
No, they said, okay, let me listen to it again, and I'll do a really good accent this
Okay.
time.
Give
ready
us
for
the
it?
context before and after as well, if there is
Okay.
any.
Yep. We are also striving to push the boundary of what's possible with Arc. They're talking about the new expansion at the end of this year.
HOD wants it to be true so badly.
So they're just talking about hyping up what's coming at the end of this year, which is the new DLC map that we're getting. And the
So
new
then they
features.
definitely knew. So then we definitely can't argue that they didn't know.
Yeah, but that's yeah, no, we can't really argue that they
Take off
didn't
the
know.
tinfoil hat.
Yeah, now you're wearing the hat and I've taken mine off for some reason. I don't know why I'm defending this point at this point. So they're talking about, we are expected to reveal an updated Arc roadmap. So they do know about the roadmap. They mentioned the roadmap. So now we've got no plausible deniability that they didn't know about the roadmap, Willie, because they literally said it 5 seconds before the statement that Arc 2 is coming out then. Like,
And
someone
they
needs to
knew,
start a class action lawsuit. Dead set.
and they knew that there was going to be a DLC at the end of the year for Arc 1
Yeah.
for 1.5.
So they knew what was going on. Of course they're going to
100%.
know. They're not going into a shareholders meeting. I don't know why I was giving them the benefit of the doubt. Like, I was just like, that's what I wanted, because I want to believe, like, I guess it comes from a place of, I want to think that Wildcard are good people and not involved in this, I think. But I don't think that's their fault. It's all Snail. It's still Snail doing that.
Well,
And then they go
the
in.
investor call is not theirs to make. So
No,
probably.
exactly. So yeah. So then they willfully lied to their investors, saying Arc 2 would come out this year. They didn't say Arc 2 is going to be packaged and people are going to be buying it this year. They say, yeah.
Exactly, D Cobra. That's a great description. You ever seen that South Park episode where they tried to get get rid of some of the channels on cable?
Experience continues to evolve.
And they're rubbing the cable dudes are rubbing their nipples. Oh, can't do that.
We
Too
can't wait to
bad.
share our plans with you. $5. Sucky.
Oh my god. I agree with that, Nogs. Get it? Look, HOD's arguments fall apart. Like shit. Shit. All right, what do you think, bro? Come on.
Yep. No, there's no plausible deniability.
Okay, so they definitely
think-
knew.
Yep.
And he definitely said it comes out or we're releasing. Because that is important. I might have to download this
He
after
said-
all later.
Hang on. He said we're releasing our flagship title Arc 2 at the end of this year.
Okay, there's no way. I mean, I guess
And that was
you
a
could
Hangover reference before, by the way. Just heads up, that was a Hangover reference.
Which one?
Nothing.
Is it possible that can be interpreted as we're selling it at the end of the year?
No, not really.
Yeah, that's a hard
They
one.
just
I
clearly said
tend to agree with you. I tend to agree that would be a big stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. My chat's saying releasing meaning pre-order, but I feel like that's a big stretch because there's way better ways to communicate that.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to find the point again. I think it was at 9:20. Where is
maybe
it?
releasing for sale, maybe, but that's just not. That's not how you would phrase that. Unless you were trying to purposefully be like cloud what your actual intention was, maybe.
Yeah, no, releasing. It's releasing, Willie. It's later this year. We expect to release our flagship title.
Yeah, I feel like you're, because I am definitely not wearing the tinfoil hat yet, but I feel like you're being way too generous if you're saying that can be interpreted as like putting it up for, because there's way you would communicate that in such a different way if you meant that. The only thing I could think of is that they said it that way 100% on purpose so that it could be interpreted anyway, and they have plausible deniability for why it can't be a problem.
Yeah, so there's no two ways about it. They knew about the roadmap.
I see what you're saying, XD. HD, but I think you're just being too. I think
Arc 2 wasn't coming out
way
this year,
too.
But they told investors it was
on the edge.
Is that even legal on Steam though?
I don't know, Drew. I reckon like there's something like there for sure to like that's not legal. 100%.
There have been zero people
usually
inside
when
the
you're
Snail
buying
Inc.
something
company
like
to
that,
trade
there's an
stocks
actual
under their name.
asset, actual game, or something to demo or something like that.
Someone in my chat is trying to say that he's describing Arc Remastered but calling it Arc 2. Do you think that could be a scapegoat? I don't think so.
Well,
wait, no, he talks about other upgraded Arc Unreal Engine 5 things, I think, as well as that.
He did say, he did talk about the DLC. Does he separate when he's talking about the DLC?
Yeah, he does. It's separate because he talks about revamped stuff. Nah, that's a stretch. I reckon El Douche's in the pocket.
Maybe, but I would agree that saying our flagship, I mean, I would call your flagship Arc 1. You don't know
their flagship title would be Arc 2. Like that's their big thing though. Not
maybe.
And you wouldn't call it Arc 2 in an investors meeting when you know like it's not Arc 2. That would be the biggest slip up ever. Barely defensible, you know what I mean?
I don't think Arc 2 is their flagship. I think Arc 1 is.
I think
they may say Arc 2, right?
That could also be, again, this is probably written up by somebody who is translating their. Well, maybe not, because it is just. Well, yeah, it is Snail Games US that has to do this.
We're probably giving them too much benefit of the doubt.
Maybe. There's a lot of things here it could be, though.
Their stocks were low. They're having an investor call. There's no way they're going to tell investors, hey, sorry, guys, we don't have Arc 2 for you this year. The game we've promised. And that's their flagship. I would say you would call your flagship title Arc 2 as your flagship, as well as Arc 1. I don't think that's a thing.
Maybe they just mean Arc, the franchise.
Yeah, maybe. I think so. Because Arc's what carries Snail Games. Every other game they've touched, is just fallen to pieces. You remember Dark and Light, Willie? Atlas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
God.
release these survival games and then they jump off the ship and they let them rot
What
and
do you
they
mean,
don't
bro?
follow
Atlas
through
is
and
still
support them.
going. They're coming out with the
Atlas,
Atlas
oh yeah, you've been
UE5
playing
update.
it. Really?
Have you guys
Yes,
looked
they
at
really
Dark
are.
and Light
Oh
Steam
wow.
page lately?
Yeah, Dark and Light, exactly.
I thought
Like
they
Dark
took
and
that
Light
down,
Steam.
like offline.
No, on their Steam page it actually says it's being remastered.
Oh God. Oh no. Well, that's not
Yeah.
gonna help anything for the art community.
No.
And I
so,
wish I was kidding.
yeah, they just seem to cut and run, and they are kind of exploiting the early access cycle. And I think there's something for Dark and Light there. Like if we actually took it to Steam that Dark and Light has been out for however amount of time and is still in early, like is there an end to how long you've got in early access with Steam and how much you have to update? Because surely there is. That
I
was the
don't
one
think
thing
so.
I was going to pull on that thread a bit, maybe.
That's a
Well,
good
Surely
thread
there
to
is
pull
though.
on.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but there's a million games that have been in early access. I feel like forever. Like,
Yeah.
wasn't DayZ in early access for literally
Yeah,
years?
but they like update it regularly. You know what I mean? He'll be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
surely that you've got to update it and show that you're doing stuff to your game and not just leave it. But I guess
Yeah, I don't know
early
about
access is just
Dark and
limbo.
Light.
Hmm.
I mean,
It
if
sucks,
you look
man.
at it, do you think that they are trying to take advantage of in the way, like for financial reasons? Because here's how
Yes.
I would do it. Well, let me give you my thing here, because it is my opinion that Ark and Last Oasis, which are both Snail games published, had a great chance at being good, and they ended up where they are. But I don't think so. If I look at it, I think with just a few different decisions, they could have been pretty good games. So when I did music back in the day, one of the major things that a record label will do is they'll take 10 new artists and just throw them all out, give them, like a lowish amount of money. It's a lot of money, but a low amount of money compared to what they invest in the artists that have proven themselves. And then whatever sticks, it's just like throwing it against the wall, and whatever sticks, they invest in. I feel like that might be likely. I just don't feel like they're
Yeah.
like, I don't think their plan is to. This is why I don't like when people say cash grab, because cash grab to me implies that they have no desire or plan to actually deliver jack shit, and it's literally just show you the minimum possible to make you put your money down, and then we're bouncing with it. And I just don't see them doing that. I see them trying and failing plenty, for sure. But I just don't see them taking a game. I mean, they're still updating Atlas and Last Oasis. When,
Yeah.
by all measures, shut that shit down. It's dead.
Atlas
Just let it
Atlas
go.
is going to come back, Willie. Atlas
No,
is
it's
coming
not.
back.
It's not.
I believe it will. No, I've got hope for Atlas. Like the thing is, like especially did you play Dark and Light? Dark and Light was so good. And then there was just a couple balance issues and they could have had a massive title there, but they seem to like just give up on it as soon as it starts to dip.
Well, since we're on that subject, I pulled up the early access rules. One of the top 3 rules that they put in early access for Steam is do not make specific promises about future events. So them saying that Dark and Light is being remastered is a promise that they're going to have to fulfill now.
Yeah. So they said Dark and Light's been remastered as well as Atlas, did they?
They just trying to update all of their games to UV5?
Did they say Dark and Light as well, Jew?
Yeah, I'm pulling it
Oh.
up right now.
What's up, mate? How you doing, bro? What's up, Adel?
It was March 27th, 2020. Note on development. Dark and Light is currently undergoing a major coding overhaul. This large endeavor for a small team will take some time. The next
Wow.
significant update will be when the rework is complete.
Do you have a link for that? That's so interesting. I'll actually play Dark and Light again. Let's breathe some light into that.
Oh,
It's
so
no,
good with it.
stop.
love it.
You're part of the problem.
Yeah, we were all part of the problem. We buy
Don't
the
give them
games 'cause
hope, okay? Do
the
not
games
give
are
them
good.
hope.
It's just the company that's bad. It's always the big
You know,
publishers that ruin everything.
I'm starting to think that HOD secretly works for Snail. And that he's coming out with these crazy conspiracies because every time he brings a new conspiracy, it makes it a little more likely that they're a little less nutty. And then eventually, because he literally just said, let's go back to Dark and Light. I can only assume that he wants everybody to give Snail more of their money.
Dark and Light was so good.
It
We did
was
some
good.
I actually,
streams on it. We could
I
pump it
watched
up.
Omni.
Get
I
a full
watched Omni
server.
play it a lot, but I never played it.
Yeah, it was
was
like
really good.
Ark, but yeah, with magic. The PvP was good, wasn't it, Drew?
Yep, it was.
It had like instead of shooting guns, you shot fireballs really and lightning.
Nice.
It was really sick. So just
Well,
imagine Ark, but with magic.
now they don't own. I don't think Snail owns. They may own Dark and Light, but I don't think they owned Last Oasis. Or,
Yeah,
They bought
they
Last
did now.
Oasis of
they were just
April of last
publishing,
year.
right? Wait, they did buy it?
Yeah, April.
Why the hell would they buy it? It was dead then.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the whole reason of this. I don't know if you kept up with it at all, but their last season that they're doing right now is strictly Snail Games' direction of the game.
Oh.
That's
It's
crazy. So
garbage.
Dark and Light does have an update.
Does it say when Dark and Light is coming?
No, I wish.
Oh no, that's 2020.
I know.
supposed
That's
to
how long it's
2020.
been, man.
What?
Well,
But
then
that's the
not
point of the EA
UE5 then.
rules. Like the EA rules say that you have to follow through with that promise now.
Oh, yeah. They don't have an estimated date. That was 3 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, two change.
Yeah. It's crazy. Apparently, chat's saying that Dark and Light was screwed over by Snail Games as well. So I think it's just a common thread that Snail Games just screw over all the companies. they
Snail
buy
just
out.
abandoned fucking Dark and Light.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, didn't
Because
they?
apparently the devs lost their funding. Like I think.
Yeah, wasn't that right when they got Arc though?
No, it was a little while after. It was like a
Was
year or
it?
two after.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Dark
right
and Light.
actually.
Yeah. Yep. So they just try and milk it for all they can. Like you've had Pixar, we've had Dark and Light, Atlas, and remember with Atlas, as soon as like the hype died, Willie, they pulled out like remember Jet and Dolly and stuff went over to Atlas for a minute,
Yeah.
then they got pulled
Yeah.
off the project, because like they just saw its numbers going down and lost the hope for potential, and then they wrote it off as a loss, which also could be is another theory of mine as to why their financials last year weren't as good because of Atlas, and that's probably why they're trying to do a big pump to make some profit.
Well, they're definitely not doing well with Atlas.
Oh,
They
you fear the
removed
Knights,
VoIP.
yeah.
They removed
What?
VoIP from it.
Are you kidding me?
No.
No way.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Since you
cannot
started
talk in
streaming it,
game
Willie, is that
anymore.
why?
No.
Because Willie started streaming, they're like, let's get
No, it's
put
been
VoIP off.
gone.
What? That's crazy. Why did they do that?
I'm not sure. I think I heard it was financial, but I don't know if that was a joke or not.
No way. That's gotta
That's
be a
what I
joke.
heard
It's just,
too.
what? Does
9
VoIP
by
cost
9
more to
raid boss, I
have
think.
in a game?
Yeah.
I thought it was,
Yeah, you
really?
kind of like, and especially in a game like this, you have to.
yeah.
Like, can't even talk shit when we're killing them or dying. Huh?
Yeah, well, that must have been it. Someone probably
Boring.
caught Shihai playing because he plays Atlas under the company Black Butterfly.
Yeah, he forgot
Did
to
you
have his
see that?
voice changer on.
Yeah, he forgot his voice changer one day. Someone pulled it up and he's like, oh, can't make that mistake again. Take out VoIP, boys. But have we converted you at this point, Willie?
No,
To, like-
no, definitely not. Because some
What?
of this,
So
some of this,
You think
is,
Wildcard would willingly put themselves in this light?
I think, well, it depends. You'd have to be specific because
And you believe Snail Games is a good company?
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
There's a big difference
So-
between that and what you asked first.
So with the investors call and then Wildcard coming out with the roadmap straight afterwards, how do you explain that if Snail Games isn't a dodgy company and super corrupt and forcing things?
I don't have a good explanation for why they would say that. Not one that's like more or less likely than any other. There's no way to really know.
From your run-ins with the Wildcard devs, you would say that they are the type of people who would try and exploit their audience like this with coercive means?
I
Or would
don't.
you say Snail's more
Here's what I
likely?
would say. I would say that I could see it be plausible that they actually misjudged the reaction to some of this. I think that I think that they knew that everybody was going to be pissed. I think they knew that. So for me, there's a lot to this. If you're looking at Arc 2 and you're Wildcard, and then you remember Atlas, you remember what happened, right? So you have to have in the back of your mind, like, well, last time, thank God we had Arc to fall back on. And then if you're them and you look at what Arc was or is right now, you go, can we really fall back on that? Like that shit show of, our old spaghetti code. And so I can understand where they go, well, if we're going to have something to fall back on, we know what that thing has to be. And I could see this being a Snail thing where they're like, listen, we can't let Arc die. The Arc 2. And they say, well, Arc 2 is going to be vastly different than Arc 1.5 or Arc 1. They said that. They've made very clear that that's the case. They're not even trying to pretend like it's going to be similar. They literally said it is not going to be the same. You may not like it. So I feel like there was a decision at some point to say we need to update Arc.
Yeah, and that's all well and good, but do you not think that Snail Games forced this on Wildcard to do something like this because they were trying to please investors and make sure they don't get sued?
Which part
for lying to
exactly?
investors.
1.5?
Releasing the update, Unreal Engine 5, which because remember Jeremy stated that it was going to be free? So Jeremy stated in January it was going to be free.
If nobody had an opinion, and this was my opinion when I first read it, my opinion was that Jeremy had made a comment because their original plan, when he made the comment, was to only do a visual update. Going to make it a little prettier. And then, through whatever happened, we get to the point where they're doing, they're doing a lot of stuff and realizing that they don't, all the stuff they said in their roadmap. We need more time to learn. It's more to it than we thought or whatever. And they realized that they had a perfect way to quote unquote practice or try things in a live environment that can't try when you're building a game that isn't being played by players.
Yeah, they can learn the code early on.
Right. It just in my mind it makes sense that he made that comment. Then the situation changed. They knew Arc was going to be delayed. Arc 2, they probably knew it wasn't coming out long before. They probably could have told us this. Excuse me. Okay, maybe not years ago, but they definitely could have told us this before. And again, I'm not saying that this is what happened. This is the devil's advocate. And so in my mind, he made the statement. Then between the time he made the statement and this roadmap, they decided that they could use Arc 1.5 as a way to get better with UE5, as well as maybe do some fundraising, as well as reinvigorate the player base into Arc 1, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and to set themselves up for the future with Arc 1.5 just in case Arc 2 failed. And then by the time they had looked into doing that, it was no longer feasible to do it for free. We're doing way more here now. We're doing a whole big old project. This is not even the same as what Jeremy was even talking about, because Jeremy literally was, because remember when that tweet first went out, it was because, I think, was it Jesse that posted just a picture of what UE5 could look like? Do you remember who it was?
I might have that. One sec. I think it was Jesse.
It was either Jesse or, I'm pretty sure it was Jesse.
Yeah, it's Jesse. I found it.
Okay, so Jesse posts that picture, and then they go, dude, it'd be awesome if we, just made it look a little better. Like, did some visuals, put some sprinkles on the top, shimmer it up a little bit. And then he comes and says, yeah, all we're doing is a little bit of a visual upgrade. Because the reason that I buy into this a little bit is that not only did he say it was free, but he also said we will not need to wipe. And I think that's an important addition to that conversation, because if he knew that they were doing what they're doing now, there's no shot in hell he would think that they could get away with this much change without a wipe. And so we either have to say that Jeremy knew and just literally straight up lied, just absolutely typed it in, knowing he was full of shit, from the beginning, or we have to say that he spoke about something that was the plan, and then the plan changed, and then they just communicated poorly that the plan changed. And for me, following Arc and following Wildcard, that's in my mind makes more sense than some of the other stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
but
while
what
we're on that,
you go, Jeff?
so while we're on that subject of them changing plans, you know that they said that there would never be NFTs, but Snail wants NFTs. So what is the odds that we see NFTs in Ark Survival Ascended?
Okay, before we get there, because that's a nut. We can dive into that one too. But I just want to hear both of your opinions. Do you because for your I think Hod for your vision of how this went down, you
Yep.
would basically have to say that Jeremy knew he was lying and did it anyway. Do you think
No.
that that was the case?
Jeremy believed that was going to be the case, that it was going to be free. And then Snell's forced his hand and said, no,
Okay.
you can't do this. We need money. You've got to combine it with Arc 2. As we've told investors, Arc 2 is coming this year. We have to give them Arc 2. How can we do that, Jeremy? Oh, well, I've got Unreal Engine 5 coming out this year. We can combine the two. And that's how you make money from it and please
Yep.
the investors that you've lied to.
So you
a
think that
win-win.
that's more likely,
Yeah.
even knowing that you also said they don't communicate well.
Yeah, I think there's a combination of that. I think that's still true. But you think Wildcard would willingly put themselves in this light, Willie, without someone forcing them to? Don't you think Wildcard would come out with a comment if they were able to at this point, Willie, to save face at least? You know what I mean? Like logically, if you're Wildcard and you've got these crazy bad optics, everyone's here calling out your game, Forbes, PC Gamer, everyone's calling you out.
What
You're
up,
going to
Fox?
say something. You don't just sit there and take it because your stocks are going down or Snail stocks are going down. Your Steam reviews are getting bombed. I strongly believe that if Wildcard could say something right now, they would say something. But I think Snail Games has them under NDA, and Shihai is just forcing them to go through with this. They can't turn back now because they've promised investors Arc 2, you know. So they can't change their path, and nothing Wildcard says about it could help because they would have to expose that Snail Games forced their hand. You know what I mean?
I mean, for me to believe that, I have to believe that Jeremy and Jesse are two of the weakest men on the planet, and that could be true. But
I don't want to say
if
that.
I
but-
had a company and you bought the controlling rights and
Mhm.
you made me go down a road where I had to be a liar, I had to deliver a bunch of shit I didn't want, there's no way I'd
Yeah.
still work there. I'd quit.
100%.
Even if it was my
but
baby.
they're locked in. Snail owns Arc, Willie. They own the IP now, so they
Right,
can't leave. So
But
they're
they
stuck.
can. They can just quit.
Yeah, but then they don't have their IP to work on. You know what I mean?
I
So it's like
understand
that
that.
thing of they love the game, bad boss.
Yeah, I understand that. But at some point, you would walk away from that because you're claiming that they're not only making them liars, they're making them, do things that they don't want to do. We're now implying that it's possible that they're going to force them to put NFTs in there, which again, Jesse, we have the tweet where Jesse literally said that is not a thing we're planning to do.
Yeah.
There will not be NFTs in Arc
But
while I'm here.
That's like saying Jeremy said it was going to be free.
Exactly.
It's
I agree, but you're pointing it to the fact that they say something and then get slapped around and told what they're
Yeah.
going to say, and then they back down. Bro, there's no amount of
Well,
money
imagine.
you could offer me where I would let that happen ever again if I was them.
No, of course not. It must be so, and that's why That's why I personally feel sorry for Wildcard Willie, because I believe strongly that that's the case. Jeremy got into bed with Snail Games because of his lawsuit. You remember that? How Jeremy had a lawsuit against him
Yeah.
because he started doing Arc stuff while he was working for another company, etc., etc. Snail Games bought him out. Therefore, he's at their mercy because they're funding his project. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what he says; it's what they say. And so he's got no choice. And you remember in that first, you probably don't remember it, but in the first exposed video I did on Shihai 3 months ago, it talks about how Shihai was blackmailing Jeremy. He treats people like they're his bitch. You know what I mean? Shihai does. He treats them like they're his slaves. Literally, that's what the DMs say. That's not me saying that. And so he's just treating them like that's how he treats them, Willie. He treats them so poorly. And that's why there's lawsuits against this Shihai guy. Two lawsuits, remember? We've got 2 lawsuits, Willie, saying Shihai is a scum guy. He's racist towards us. He treats us like slaves. How can you not believe that he'd do the same to Wildcard if
Chris,
he's
thank you
doing
for
that
the
to
sub, by the
anyone
way,
else he
brother.
employs?
I mean, I'm again. That my whole point is, if you worked there, would you still work there if that was the behavior you had seen for this
I
long?
wouldn't. Well, if it was my game, my baby, like Ark, if I had made Ark and I was getting funding by a company to keep making the project I love, even though they're shit, I would still make Ark.
But they're not
And I would be
funding
like
your project
keeping
anymore,
distance.
right? You
Sorry?
sold the company. You sold the project. They own the
It's
IP.
you're still making it though. They're funding it, so Jeremy still gets to make the project he loves. You know what I mean? He still gets to deliver on his and everything he's wanted to do. But at the end of the day, they own it. But you still enjoy making it. If I was Jeremy, for instance, making a game like that, he seems like he's a really like technical orientated guy. Loves taking advantage of the new technologies and stuff. I would say I would still. It's hard though. I've had a bad boss and I left the job because of it. But I didn't love the work. You know what I mean? If you love your work, it's a hard call, isn't it?
Yep,
I
100%.
don't know. That's a weird one. I don't know. I'm like in between. I can see
Why?
how it's possible that they're strong arming him, but I
Okay.
feel like you're like taking all of the responsibility off of Wildcard and just
Yeah. Okay.
literally
I see
giving them
that.
a free
Yep.
pass.
Yeah,
There's
no,
no way we can
definitely.
do that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I 100% agree with you on that, Willie. And I've definitely come
Yo,
around to
by the
that
way,
point
chat. I'm
since
sorry,
he was talking about that conference
my
call, actually,
Streamlabs was messed up.
saying that there's no way
Davey,
they
thank you
didn't
for the
communicate when I
prime.
was giving benefit
Grizz,
of the doubt.
Aussie,
You're
and
definitely right.
Thank
We
you
need
guys
to
all for the
put
subs. I
some of the
appreciate
blame
it.
on Wildcard for being so, being cucks and taking it, I guess, at the end of the day. But unfortunately, that's the situation I think they're stuck in. But do you think that Jeremy would just go out of his way to say it was free if he didn't believe it, Willie? I guess that's the main point here.
No, I don't. But I think the difference that the two of us have here is that you think it was Snail forcing him, and I think he just misspoke, and then the
Yeah.
plan changed. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
and the plan could have changed with pushing from Snail. I think that's possible, but I
Yeah.
don't think it was. He says it's free, and then he gets an email that says, "No, the hell it's not. Fuck you. It's gonna cost money, and here's what you're gonna charge them." I don't see that. I don't like. I feel like it's probably somewhere a little closer to the middle, where it's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
is it possible we use you? You know, because it makes sense that they would use UE5 in the time on Arc 1, making 1.5
Yeah.
to learn Arc 2, especially if they're trying to deliver something completely different. So I don't know. I feel like it's probably in the middle.
Yeah. But then the investors call, Willie, how do you explain them saying Arc 2 releasing this year? And then the roadmap we got, you know what I mean?
Um, I think that if we take some of the things that people are saying in chat and we apply it to the other end where we are, I think it's possible that they were being purposefully vague so they could sell the dream but not be held
They weren't vague
accountable.
though. They said
Well,
our flagship title Arc 2 releasing this year.
yeah, but again, the argument that was being made to me was releasing could be for sale, which is technically true. I would never phrase it that way, but that's what I mean. It's just vague enough to where if you tried to take them to court, they go, "Well, no, obviously we just meant it's in the bundle." But if you're an investor and
Yeah.
you hear that, you think what we think, like, "Oh shit, it's coming out this year." Like,
If I'm an investor, okay, if you're an investor and you hear that, Willie, and then you see the roadmap, how do you feel?
well, as an
Do you feel
investor,
lied to?
I don't know if I even care because as an investor, I see that they're probably about to sell thousands more units of Arc 1.5 and go, it'd be nice to have Arc 2, but
And
they're
there's the
doing what they
problem.
need to make it good.
Yep, and that's the problem, Willie. That's the crux of it. That's all they
they're like,
see.
I'm going to rebuy my stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna just quickly short sell,
So,
drive the price
so
down,
do you
and
see
rebuy.
that? Do you see that now, Willie? That's the whole perspective of it. That Snail just wants that money because you can see that they're not giving Wildcard the chance to talk about this. You know, it's such bad optics. The only way that this is plausible, like for them to want to do this, is just money and filling that gap in their stocks. Would you not agree with that? That they just
I don't. So you're saying that the only reason they're charging for 1.5 is for money?
yeah.
Okay. Do you think that if you
It's to fill the gap.
originally started with we're just gonna do whatever, a visual upgrade, it's gonna be free and there will be no wipe. That's where they started, right? And then
Yep.
whatever happened, whether it's Snail's boot in the back or just a change of plans or a meeting that they realized they could do something else to make a little money. Do you think that then doing all the things that they put in the roadmap to bring, like for the changes, for the UE5 changes, server performance, quality of life, there's a bunch of things listed. Do you think that all of those things, I mean, I know you don't. I'm not even going to ask you the question like an idiot. Obviously, those things cost money.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep,
if they had
and I
done
get
if
that.
they had done a visual update, however, probably doesn't cost as much money. Like
Yeah.
if all they did was make pretty water and plants we can run through and they
Yeah.
react when we run through them, probably not nearly the same investment, right?
But it's not the problem, is it? Do you think that's? I think the problem really is the way they've done it. Because I have no problem paying for this stuff. The problem is that one hand saying something, but the head saying something different. Like they're saying it's going to be free, and then they come out and say no, it's not free. And that's the problem. Is that not that we're paying for it, but that we've been lied to, and they're just flip flopping and changing it to make their investors happy.
Well,
Do you
but
know
that
what I mean?
wasn't your
That's my
argument.
problem.
Your argument was that, I mean, that's a different point that we can certainly, and I would certainly say
Yeah.
that I agree with you. But your point
Yeah.
was that it was only for money. Like the whole thing is just money. But that's what companies do. And so I guess I'm asking you, do you
Yeah.
think it's unfair with what they've said? Okay, we can only take what they've said as far as the roadmap. Do you think it's
Yeah.
fair for them to want to raise more money to make? And again, I understand that there's
Of course,
so many
it's
caveats
fair,
to
but do you
this.
think the way they've
That's-
done it is
No,
the
I
way to do
don't.
it, really?
I don't agree
So
that
that's
the way they've
problem.
done it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's two different questions that have different answers.
Well, that's my whole argument, and that's my points, and I think everyone's points is that we don't like the way they're doing it. No one has a problem with us getting these things; they're going to be great, but we have a problem with them strong arming. And now that we see the stocks, we've seen that shareholders, we know why they're doing it. It just makes it so much more obvious. Sorry, Drew. I think you were going to say something.
Oh, you're good. I was just agreeing with you
Rack?
because we saw that they're down 30%. They've generated only $1 million in sales this year, so they need that money to basically break even of the cost of going into UE5.
I mean, that's a big assumption, though. It's probably true, but we know. I mean, you already did the money with me. We know that they've deferred income that they have access to. We know that in 2022 they were working with over $12 million in non-dedicated cash. They had. I don't think this is we're out of money. Like I think that's a
No.
very bad position for people to be looking at this from. I think it could
Exactly.
be that like, yeah, we're gonna put a lot more work into this than we were going
And
to.
that's-
We're gonna have to pay more people more time.
It's
Yeah.
greed, not need, and that's the thing. Is because they've had such good years, Willie, and they're under pressure because they've just gone live on the stock market. So previously they weren't under as much pressure to put stuff out, but now it's all public. Their stocks aren't where they want them to be, so they're just doing a quick. I know you don't want to say it, a cash grab, which is what it is in my opinion, to just bump up their stocks and make investors happy. You know what I mean? Because they have to, and they're used to making this certain amount of money every year, and now that Arc 2 is pushed back, they're in panic mode. And just the problem, I guess, at the end of the day, in summary, is that they're delivering it poorly. They shouldn't be forcing us to buy Arc 2 without seeing the product. You know what I mean, Willie? Would you say that? Would you
Yeah,
say you want to buy something without seeing it?
I think we agree there that the way they
Yeah.
went about it, for whatever the reason is, I think the way they went about it's weird. I think that
Yeah.
um,
So what would you
I
call
think,
it if not a cash grab, Willie? You know what I mean?
again,
Getting us to pay for Arc 2 this early on.
when you say, I mean, I guess it's how you look at it. All right, you're
They're
saying that
literally
you're
grabbing
paying for
cash.
you're saying that you're paying for Arc 2, but you're really paying for Arc 1.5 and getting
Yeah.
Arc 2, right?
That's the thing. They've thrown it in the,
So
you can take it
in
either way, but that's the
I
problem.
don't. Yeah, it's kind of that's a little bit open to interpretation.
And you're not going to be able to refund it either.
That is
Yeah.
the weird part that is interesting.
That'll be interesting. So is that confirmed that we can't refund it, Drew?
Of course, it's not confirmed, but that would make
But
sense.
it's not
Yeah.
confirmed. It makes sense because it's bundled.
Yeah. If it's bundled, you can't refund it. That's actually a really interesting point, Drew. So is that how Steam works? If something's bundled, you can't like refund one part of it because you'd have to refund the whole thing. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
I think so.
Interesting. That's a really good point, Gee, I hadn't thought of that. So
That,
yeah,
and
they're
that, if
making it
that's
so
true, that's shitty. Like
well,
where,
because in the roadmap, Willie, they even said, remember on the post they say and they talk about how Arc 2 is going to be so different, and then they have in brackets they talk about how because have you seen many of Nooblet's videos? He talks about he did this big video blow up with like 100K views, and he was talking about how people don't want the Dark Souls combat, etc., etc. We want the old Arc just updated a bit, don't change it too drastically. And so they've referenced that in the post in the roadmap, and they're like they're advertising to me as Ark Survival Ascended as the PvP players Ark to keep us going because they know Ark 2 is not going to make us happy. So therefore, they're forcing us to buy Ark 2 preemptively, knowing that it's not going to appeal to us. Really, you know what I mean?
I
Cash
mean,
grabbing.
I could see that argument,
Yeah,
but again, you're basically paying for one or the other, whichever you prefer to look at it.
yeah, which isn't the problem. I'm happy to pay for Acer, but being forced to, and when it was told it was free is the problem. And then having Arc 2 there, just because they're covering their base for their stockholders, is the issue for me.
Yeah, I just don't think I can draw that line quite as easy that they're forced to.
Yeah.
Again,
You don't think they're forced, really? At this
Wildcard has
point, you
made
don't
some
think
poor
Wildcard's
decisions
forced?
on their own, right? Like, don't you agree?
Well, are they all
Well,
by their own? What decisions?
not only that, not like the last time when we had the NFT scandal, right? They immediately said something, hey, this is not happening, this is not going on, blah, 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 blah. We're 5 days past this crunch being posted, and we haven't heard a word from Wildcard.
But that's normal.
No. This
Yes,
NFT
it
thing was
is.
it was 1 day later when the NFT response got posted.
No, it
Literally
definitely
1 day.
wasn't.
I
Are you
Oh,
we
that's
got a
sure?
right. They
screenshot.
responded, didn't they? Wait, so they did
Yeah.
respond to the NFT thing. So that was after Nettie's video. What did they say again, Drew?
No, we're not doing it.
Jesse said lots of creative
Yeah.
interpretations going on here. NFTs and crypto and Arc 2 will never happen on our watch and not in the plans at all.
Okay, but you understand that making that statement is very simple compared to making a statement about the crunch when there's like literally we've talked about 17 points in this crunch tonight that are kind of like up in the air and we need some clarification on.
Well,
It's
the big
easy
one
to be
is
like,
paying
yeah, no,
for
we're not
it.
doing any NFTs.
So therefore, we have a precedent of them seeing people talk about a negative thing that's
Correct.
coming or possibly coming, and they're worried. Why did they respond to that one and not this one? Really, if not for
Correct.
Snail Games locking
Because
them under NDAs.
no is a very simple response.
Mm-hmm.
Can
So
you
you reckon
imagine him trying
they're
to
weighing up?
respond with a tweet and answer all the questions that you brought up tonight?
Yeah, that's a good point. So they're weighing it up. You
I-
reckon they're
I
taking it to the
imagine
drawing
they're
board?
writing something up and we'll get it when it's ready. But it's gonna
I
be,
think we will.
and it could be that they're actually listening. It could not be.
Yeah.
They could be not listening. But it could be
Do
that
you
they're
think
listening
that
to the
we don't
complaints.
deserve to be listened to? Do you think they've done everything? Everything they've done is okay, Willie, I guess. That's
What do
probably
you
the.
mean everything they've done is okay?
Do you think them packaging all these deals together, knowing what we know, is a legitimate and good business practice for the consumer?
I'm not sure that it's a good business practice for the consumer, but again, for me, I'm just buying ASA, which I was gonna buy,
Yeah.
and then I get ARC 2,
Yeah.
which I may or may not care about.
But you were going to get it free, Willie. So didn't you want the free one you were going to get 3 months ago?
We don't know that we were getting this version of 1.5 for free. If you
But
take
that's
away
the problem.
all
we
the-
don't know. That's the
yes,
problem.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
we
is
don't
the
know,
problem.
yeah.
Again, I
And
agree
that's what
with
it all
you
comes
there.
down to.
But the
They need to say
difference is
something.
that I say we just need to wait and let them clarify, and you
Definitely,
say
yeah.
it's Snail Games forcing it to do
I
that.
say I say blow them up, Willie. Whenever you make noise, it gets listened to and it has effect. Like I'm one of those people that I'll just, you've got to get it out there, and you miss 100% shots of what you don't take. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So if you don't take a shot, you're going to miss it, and you're going to let them get away with highway robbery. You know what I mean? So that's the thing.
Okay,
Like,
so let me ask you this then. Okay, so just personally, how much change would have to be from 1 to 1.5 for you to go, okay, it's now worth it? At the current price point, I'm not.
I think
I
it's
think they
probably gonna
should
be worth
reduce
it,
the
but-
cost of the DLC. I think that
Yeah.
here's what I think should happen. Let me give you my entire run through of the price point. I think that you should get the island and scorched right off the bat. That should be part of the base, and we can call that 49. Hell, make it $59.99 and give me Arc 2, whatever. But if I can only play the island and Scorch, don't make me buy Scorch in a fucking DLC. That's stupid as shit.
Yep.
That's number one. So
Yep.
give me Scorch.
Yep.
If you have to charge me a little bit more, whatever, then I live with that. But give me $59.99. I get the island Scorch, and you throw in the stupid beta test and Arc 2 down the road. And then you give me all of the other DLCs, including the one that is announced to be new with the 4 new dinos. All of those should be, in my opinion, $30 or less. So give me every other DLC plus the new one, $30 or less. And then I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I'm not losing my shit over it.
Yeah. And I think that's most people's take is it's fine for the 50, but the DLCs on top is the problem for most people, I think.
Really shitty.
Yeah.
I agree.
Would you call it a cash grab, Willie?
I still wouldn't call it a cash grab. It may be.
Oh, what do you call it?
Well, because
Yeah.
once again, I can link you to Steam pages of cash grabs. Cash grabs are, we're not going to deliver shit. We're going to show okay. Here, I'll give HOD a great example. Let's say 3 years ago, Star Citizen was a fucking cash grab and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
It may not be now. They may have trudged through far enough to get out from under that. But you cannot tell me that they had delivered the money that they had raised worth of content 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. That looked like a cash grab. This is different.
Yeah, 100%.
If this was you can't convince me that if this was a cash grab that they wouldn't already have been doing all sorts of microtransactions, that and the other thing. Because if they were gonna do a cash grab, unless you're trying to convince me that they're just now deciding to do it, like they've never considered it before, and this is brand new, then they would have been doing scummy shit the whole time that we would have all hated and seen it for what it was. Do I think that they're raising money for whatever reason because they're a company, and of course companies want more money? Absolutely. Do I think that it's, Shihi has to pay his bills in his Beverly Hills mansion like you said? Absolutely. But I just don't like the term cash grab because for me that insinuates a purposeful refusal to deliver the product, and your whole goal is to trick people into money without ever delivering.
Yeah.
Well, because we know nothing of Arc 2, it technically could be called that. They're saying, oh, you get the beta in 2025, but it could be a non-existent thing.
It's just like Star Citizen will throw Starship back.
Is that what you're saying? You think it's
Say
possible
what?
they never finish it?
It's definitely possible. I mean, we're what, 3 years in, and then they
Tarzan, thank you
redeveloped
for the
in
prime,
June, so
brother.
6 months in now, and we're still concept art. We're minimum 2 years away.
Isn't that just like Star Citizen a few years back, Willie? Hey?
Right, but I
And
don't
you
call it a
Star
cash grab,
Citizen a
right?
cash
'Cause
grab?
they've begun.
Well, that's your
they've
definition,
begun.
though. But didn't you say Star Citizen a few years ago was a cash grab?
I said it looked like a cash grab, but they
So
delivered.
wouldn't you say this looks like a cash grab?
No, because they've
this
delivered in the
point.
past. That's the
Arc 2.
difference.
Arc 2 looks like a cash grab.
I say I
That's my
disagree.
opinion.
We got him. We got him.
How you did? You didn't.
We did. We got
If
him, boys.
Wildcard or Snail had never delivered, I would agree with you 100%. If all we had was Arc 2, I would agree 100%. But when we say, you cannot tell me that Arc and Wildcard, and by extension, I guess we'll include Snail, didn't deliver with Arc 1, which means they have delivered. And we can argue about the validity of how good the game was, but they also delivered a few other games that turned out to be shit, but they did deliver something that was, again, I won't say great, but playable and had a chance.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
Yeah.
I still agree with you that it's kind of shitty. The pricing is really shitty. I actually, if you want to know the truth, I actually think they thought that this was going to make people happy, and they really misjudged what people wanted. I think that's
right
pretty
on that part as well.
pretty likely. That they thought, bro, we're going to offer them this deal. They're going to get Arc 2, part of this bundle, plus they get 1.5. Everybody's going to love it. You're just going to be able to get it for like $49.99. I think they actually thought that this was going to make people super happy, and I bet they're literally scrambling now to holy shit, maybe we need to fix this. Look into it.
Yeah.
But what's the fix? Separating Arc 1.5 and Arc 2, right? That's my opinion.
My opinion is you have your bundle, and then split the bundle as well, so that you can buy Arc 1.5 now, and you can buy Arc 2 later. Which you can already buy Arc 2 later. We know that, but
that would be a good call.
Yeah.
Yep. Give us the option. That's the problem here. Is they're just trying to coerce us into buying Arc 2 to fill sales.
it might be 5
applications,
years
so
from now.
Yep.
Give us the option, and we'll be all happy.
Yeah.
And
No
it is
problem
confirmed
paying for something.
It is confirmed you cannot refund bundles, so I'll
Okay,
look that up.
yep. There we go.
Yeah, that's also shitty.
Yeah.
Let me
So
ask
there
you
we have it.
this.
So,
Let me ask you
yeah.
this, okay? For the two of you. Now, I
Yeah.
know for HOD specifically, you're a content creator. You'll probably have a slightly different answer, just like I would, because it just makes sense the way we do it. But if you had the option to buy 1.5 for, let's say, $40, okay? I know it's 49, but let's say you could buy it for $40 instead. But then later, Arc 2 costs $59.99. But you didn't have to buy it now, and you could wait to see. Would you buy the bundle anyway, just because if you end up liking this deal?
Yeah, I personally would, of course. But
Yeah, of course. But
I
you're a
mean,
content
bundles
creator.
are always, bundles like that are always way to go. Like, for example, Diablo 4, the $110 pack, you get
Right,
all
Ambassador,
types
right.
of shit. Those types of bundles are what people want. It doesn't matter if you're a content creator or just an average consumer. The bundles are what sells to the people.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. And the other problem that we sort of glanced over a little bit is them closing down official servers on Arc 1. Again, a forceful move, forcing people to move from Arc 1, having to get Arc 1.5, forcing their hands. That's the problem. It's just so forceful, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's,
I feel like
yeah.
that's probably some PvE players are going to have to deal with that. But I feel like,
Yeah.
and I could be totally wrong, but it seems to me if I was a PvE player, then at least having the option to take it over to a single player or unofficial would like slightly lessen that blow. But maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe there are people who only want to play official PvE the way I only want to play official PvE. In which case it sucks. I don't.
Yeah. But I guess at the end of the day, do you think this was all done from just Wildcard's initiative, Willie? Or do you think that Snail Games has them at the throat? Have we convinced you yet? Like,
No,
what?
I mean, I'm
why
never
don't
gonna
you think
believe
Snail
that
Games is
straight out
forcing
that
the hand?
easily. That's too easy.
Well,
It's just
Easily,
too much.
we've got evidence. We've given you so much
Well-
evidence, Willie.
What?
You've seen
All
it.
right. I guess let's go to the crypto, so that way we can convince him.
Oh, you're never. Oh god, crypto.
So explain to
get me
me
here.
why. Explain to me why Snail Games sneaks onto a small platform of a creator, Twitter space, whatever you want to call this individual, with a crypto company, saying, we're going to put NFTs in ARC, and that's our goal, and we're going to have a huge announcement in Q1 of 2023. Well, guess what? Their huge announcement was the roadmap.
Yeah, maybe. But you explain to me why that guy's fired.
Bro, I could not find
Okay,
nothing.
you
of
explain to
why
me
he
why
was
that
fired.
guy's fired, doesn't work there anymore, and we haven't heard shit about NFTs since April of 2020.
Who was fired?
The guy who did that interview like a few months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he doesn't
wow.
work there
Yeah,
anymore.
I forgot his name. What was his name?
I will say, if you read this page, the Snailverse Metaverse or Snail Games Metaverse,
Yeah.
they
Matthew
have
Harper.
They have, in my opinion, one of the worst visions for NFTs that really doesn't have anything to do with Arc the game itself.
What's
where
that
is it?
space game? What's the space game? No Man's Sky. Okay, here's an example. So you remember No Man's Sky? You guys remember how bad it was when it came out and how much bad publicity it got? Have you seen how many updates No Man's Sky has done for free since?
Yep.
That have completely changed the game like wholeheartedly, and like there's nothing like it was, and these are all free updates. If it was not for Snail Games being greedy, forcing Wildcard's hand, do you think they need to make the money from 1.5 when we have No Man's Sky just writing free updates for years at this point, if not for a cash grab?
I mean, I think I'd need to look and see where No Man's Sky makes their money.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's why I think we shouldn't be thinking that. Yeah, again, anyway, we're all in agreement. So they don't need the money, but yeah, I think they just make it from selling the game again when they have updates.
There's the update from
Crazy.
Wildcard apparently.
Where?
Is there?
I just posted in Discord. Somebody posted in
Oh, wow.
Willie's chat
When did they post this?
yesterday, by the looks of it.
Really? Okay.
80 million.
Studio Wildcard replied to our request for comment with the following statement. Oh, it's from Jad. It's going to be the same statement as before.
That's
Yeah,
what
but
he
it's
was
the
talking
same
about.
as it's the same statement that the other company got. It's just a cut and paste. Yeah.
Where is he give the statement at?
We have been really excited to deliver an incredible Ark Unreal Engine 5 experience. Admittedly, back in January, we got ahead of ourselves at the time. As the scope of the project increased, we hadn't realized the full-time development resources and costs needed. So my whole point would be, if No Man's Sky can deliver free update after free update after free update, if this isn't a cash grab by Snail Games, the publisher of Ark, then what is it?
I mean,
Really?
again,
Answer me that. What is it if it's not a cash grab?
Yeah, but you don't know that they're able to do that, like free update after free update after free update, without some sort of help. Like, okay, any company's goal is to make money. There's no way around it. So
100%.
where
Just
is
don't
their
do it
money
shady.
coming from? Is
Yeah.
it because they sold so many copies off the rip? Because they sold a lot of copies in the beginning.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah, could be.
there's just no way to answer that based on an anecdotal like comparison. It is possible that Wildcard has all the money in the world and they don't need any of that at all, but I wouldn't say it's like. And also those updates that they're doing, have you played them?
Yeah, I was playing that middle of last year, I think.
I know in the beginning,
pretty
a
good.
lot of those No Man's Sky updates were literally things that they had promised that they didn't deliver,
Yeah,
that they were
that's
adding
true.
back.
Yeah,
So again, I think that's a valid way, like a valid comparison that we could research, but I just don't know. Like it's hard for me to like, you know what I mean? To look at,
Yeah.
like to compare those two because I don't know enough about it.
yeah.
But
So I think in summary, we could all agree on this, could we? Like, this is a greedy play. They need to say something about it, and Snail Games is behind it.
okay, I won't agree that it's necessarily greedy. I don't know if we see more
Yeah.
about the financials, then maybe I could agree to that. I will 100% agree that they handled it poorly. They fumbled the execution. They definitely fumbled the communication. There's things about so what you just said a second ago. What when you read what Jat said, does that not literally read like exactly what I just said? My opinion of how this went was he made a statement in January.
You're sounding like a shill.
Huh?
Jat's a shill.
Oh, okay, so
Jad is being the shield here.
Okay, guys.
He has been a shill in this circumstance.
Oh, okay. So it's not realistic.
Willie, blink twice. Hang on, blink twice if Shiai's in the next room.
Yeah, because they name off. Let's see,
come out of the closet, please.
11 new things with UE5. Wow, that's a lot, boys.
Well, but those are like some of those aren't specific things. They're, you know, they're
so out of that, you might get 5.
I mean, again, we can only take it at what it says. Otherwise, there's no point in even having the discussion. You have to just take it at what it says. Whether they deliver on it, that's an argument for later when we find out that they don't deliver on it.
So I guess my summarizing points would be, I think it's going to be good. I don't like the way it's delivered to us. It feels greedy. And I would probably say this. I want to see, this might be controversial, I'm not too sure, but Rust, how Rust monetizes their game with skins.
Yeah, with
skin economy, and they'll do little DLCs here and there. I would actually love for Ark to have skins, and I think we're going to get it in Unreal Engine 5 because they've added like a whole new integration for it, if you read that roadmap. Yeah, and I would say the best thing they could do is start to delve into that avenue. And I don't think any player is going to have too much of a problem having the opportunity to buy skins if we want. And then they can take some of the pressure off themselves having to do these greedy plays.
That would be super easy, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then why are they not doing that if it's a money grab, HOD? Answer me that.
They are going to do it, and they've
Yeah, but
not
why
doing it
aren't they
because
already? If it's always a money grab, then why haven't they already been doing that Arc 1? They could have
it
been doing
must
that for years now.
integrate into current Arc. I would say, like hard to backwards for backwards
Oh,
compatibility.
wait. So
Put it
wait,
away.
Yep.
this is hard to be backwards compatible, but it should be free to move Arc 1 into Arc 1 or into UE5.
I'm not saying it's free. Jeremy said that.
Oh, Jeremy said it. Right. Okay, I forgot.
The Arc lead developer, Willie.
God, I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
Are you
I'm
working
gonna
for
yeah,
Funcom?
Willie,
You
it's
sound
coming
like
up
you're
to
working for
Easter.
Conan Exiles
I'm gonna give
right
you
now.
I'm gonna give you a free Easter egg. Do you want a free Easter egg, Willie? It's Easter time. Hey,
Yeah, hit
wait
me.
a second. Oh no, shit! Give me $20, Willie. $20 for this Easter egg, actually.
Okay, but if you
No.
gave me an Easter egg that then also had candy in it and a $5 bill in it, it grew legs and walked around, then I'd be like, oh shit, that's way cooler than a regular Easter egg. Yeah, I'll pay you for that.
Yeah, but it's not the Easter egg I promised you, is it, Willie?
Yeah, but the Easter egg you promised me sucks dick compared to the one you
But
given
you
me.
don't
Though.
know. You don't know what that Easter egg was because no one told you afterwards. You see?
No,
Got
I
him.
don't. No, you didn't. You can't just say got him every time you say she high money grab.
I can. That's all.
Can we
That's
just
all that needs to be
agree?
said.
Can we just agree that WildDew right now looks like an evil villain the way he's sitting? Well, so okay, let's talk about the metaverse thing for just a second with a little bit more specificity.
Oh boy.
So when you read this, it doesn't read like they're going to. It reads like they have an idea for a metaverse that includes maybe assets and things from art, but is not inside of art. Does that make sense? So they say,
Can you link the metaverse stuff? Is this some new stuff that Nettie talked about?
I don't know if this is the stuff that Nettie talked about or not. This is just what's on their page about it.
That's the metaverse video at Games Beat Summit 2022.
Yeah, but the thing under that is just like their article on their website about it.
Yeah.
That'll be a little quicker. That Games Beats thing's long, right?
It's like 30 minutes.
I'm not watching all that. But it's like, so here it is right now. Okay, well, first of all, this is crazy. We have started work on this project about a year ago, and this issue is still a big challenge for us. They're talking about executing NFTs in the metaverse. That they want to, so they like the idea of Arc, right? And
yeah,
when I say Arc, I mean the arcs. Like there's, each map is like its own like planet or arc or whatever, and they're spread out in space or whatever, right? And so in this metaverse, you can basically travel to different planets or arcs of climate, and I don't know exactly what they think you're going to do there, but it definitely feels like they're just using the idea of Arc inside a whole separate project that's not actually Arc. That makes sense? Still doesn't make any sense. I can read you the whole thing. It doesn't make any fucking sense, but
yeah.
But it definitely it doesn't read to me like they're trying to put NFTs into art, even based on what they have on their website.
That's another example of when Shihai said something and then Wildcard came out and said nope. So it just shows that they're just not on the same page in a lot of things, and it just shows how forceful.
But if this is a separate project, and it's not in art, though, you didn't.
Well, that's where the Games Beat video is important, because he says that he's going to put it into Arc.
Well, you can read what they put. It's literally right here. This is newer than that, I think. No, the Game Summit was like June. It was right before E3. Of what year? Last year. So it was right after that little
E3
last year.
Well, that's what I mean. Like it was. So their post on that website that you're looking at was in April. This video was 10 months ago. So what is that? May? Probably around the same time. They probably literally took what he said, stuck it up.
Um, it could be referring to the mod stuff, the premium mods, because it definitely talks about creators here like a lot. Like content creators, the assets created by content creators belong to the platforms, and in turn, the platforms use the assets created by content creators to thrive. However, no matter how influential the content creators are, they may end up being banned by the platform. This is just not fair. We have over 30 years of experience with developing digital assets, and as a very experienced gamer myself, I'm emotionally resonating with these gamers and content creators. It's a very frustrating experience when you lose all of your work. Yeah, if that were true, you would have enforcement. Anyway, it feels like this is not talking about NFTs and ARC in that same way. What do you think of the modding that they posted about?
Well, that's going to be interesting because they're saying Overwolf, which is paid mods, yeah?
Yeah. And
know any
from
more
what
of it,
I've
Jim?
seen, most of the mod creators are saying that they're going to do free, that they're not going to have their mod paid for. Like I've seen Eco Mods do it. I've seen what's his name, Orionson, that made S Plus do it. So if the bigger mod creators that are sponsored with Wildcard already are saying, "Hey, my mod's going to be free," the odds of finding a paid mod are, they're not going to really do anything.
Yeah. And again, it just goes to show that I think that's Snail Games' influence just being apparent. Like they're just trying to cash in from every single corner that they can.
I mean, if they make it optional, so there's three questions. Number one, does Wildcard / Snail get anything from premium mod sales? Because what it says is, I think it says it's split between the creator and Overwolf, right? Or whatever they're called. 50-50.
Let me read this so
Yeah,
I
read
don't
it
remember.
exactly.
Premium mods reviewed by Overwolf and Wildcard for quality control and value. Mod authors will optionally be able to specify price points for their mods. 50% goes to the mod author. This is necessary to pay Overwolf for their support. So it doesn't say necessarily 50-50 author and Overwolf. It just says it's necessary to pay Overwolf for their administrative and mod fee.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I would assume that it's going to be a three-way split.
Or that they're just going to pay Overwolf total sum and
That's possible.
harder way to better money for you. But I think the thing that if it's optional, then I don't really have a problem with it. The question I have though is they make reference to Overwolf being the thing that lets them do cross-platform. So my question would be, if I choose not to do premium, does my mod does it then get left out of being cross-platform
No,
capable?
all mods will be cross-platform.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Well,
The
then
modding capability will include blueprint support, stack mods, and maps. Everything that's currently possible in the Steam version of Arc Workshop will be possible in the new system, which will be available for all end users to play on consoles and all modes. Sorry. So
that
yes,
doesn't say that it works cross. It just says that you can do them for all three. Would you have to? Because the only time it references cross is specifically with Overwolf being the catalyst for that, right?
in the first little dot it says to introduce a first cross-platform modding experience. So they're testing this with Overwolf because I don't remember their mod people that they're using for Arc 2. It was somebody different though. So this is
Interesting.
basically just a test and see how things go.
I could see it being good for mods makers who needed another way to have a little bit of income. They could offer like
Well,
a light version of something that was more like something
so like
easy
what I
and
did
fun.
for my mods I made for Ark and Atlas, I just put my Patreon on there, and if people wanted to donate or whatever, it just goes straight to me.
Yeah, but we both know that you would get more by charging kindness. That's how that works.
Uh, yes, but who? Let's say, for example, you charge $20 for your mod. How many people are going to pay that $20 for a mod? I don't see it.
If you charge $20 for a mod, you don't make shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're not
that's the
making
problem
anything.
because you could set your own price.
I think that would be interesting to see because it would suck. But imagine if Stack Mod all of a sudden charged $5. You
Yeah,
best
yep.
believe that thousands of players will buy Stack Mod. Because would you really want to go to that without having it go play unofficial without that anymore? What about S Plus? What about the nanny, bro? You telling me that they wouldn't make a killing by making that $5?
S Plus is like the oddball because he worked for Wildcard. He's done all this shit. So
it's not specific to that point. I just like to
yeah,
that mod. I just mean, just imagine the money that you would make doing that. I think it's easy to say that now because everybody's pissy, but
I don't know. I don't think it would go well, to be honest.
here's the real question. If you're a mod maker if you're a server owner, unofficial or whatever, and you put a mod on your server that's premium, does everyone who plays on your server have to buy it? I think that's an interesting idea.
Yeah,
Or an interesting
yeah, they do.
part of it.
They would have to buy it and then install it, download it, whatever.
Not the daddy. Exactly. Everybody says, no, I would never buy a mod until it's the one they use the most. That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, I think we saw what happened when Skyrim did that. Literally no one gave a shit. I wonder if they made anybody for. Yeah, I'm not sure. All right, so this is your last chance, HOD. Do you have any other proof that you haven't really hit on to make me put my tinfoil hat on?
I think we've laid it all out. I'm pretty sure, like, there's enough evidence in what we've given to come to the same conclusion, really.
I think that there's enough evidence to definitely say that they handled it poorly and they fumbled the communication. 100%. I think there's enough evidence to say that the pricing is not correct and should be adjusted. I think that they either should say we're going to sunset official servers on Arc 1 for X amount of months, or they should just give a reason. If they were to come out and say, listen, servers that are gonna be required for next gen is gonna, and I don't even know this. I'm saying if there was some sort of reason made even a little sense, then give a reason, even if it's BS. But don't just do it and not tell us why you have to do it.
Exactly. That's it. We just need communication. That's all. That's the main issue here, I think.
But that's the problem.
Because without it, that's why we put our tinfoil hats on, Willie. We come
that's
up
the
with
problem, HOD.
Yeah.
The thing that Wildcard sucks at the most, whether it be because of Snail or what, but the thing they suck at the most is fucking communication.
Yep. They just
the one thing we need them to do.
And they can never do it. And they still haven't learned.
You know why? I mean, if you were them, would you communicate every time Jeremy says something? The fucking opposite happens. I wouldn't say shit either.
I would if my Chinese overlords weren't overwatching me.
True. Hey? Okay.
That's the reason I'm worried about like what Jesse says. Like if what Jeremy says is the opposite, then same thing could happen to Jesse.
Yeah, you think we're getting NFTs?
I think it's going to be microtransactions, not necessarily NFTs. I think they're going to do your chibis or your skins or something to that effect.
I have no problem.
I think
with
as
that.
long as we call out As long as we call out the bullshit whenever we see it, they're going to struggle, and we'll hopefully end up getting much more reasonable views. If the community has outcry like this, I think something's going to change. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. I hope so.
Yeah.
The only thing I really care is better.
Yep.
Because the thing is, everybody's making these rash decisions while
And that's what
having
people do.
horrendous communication from them. So if you still make that decision after you've gotten some clarification, because they really have fucked it up and it really is just awful, that's one thing. It's usually better to let them clarify and fix their statement and add some more context, and then we can all decide. But unfortunately, there's no telling how long that lasts.
Exactly. We can't let them do that, because then they might not change the statement. You know what I mean? So that's the other problem. If we just say nothing and they come out with these crazy statements, we're like, oh yeah, they're going to change it surely. But if no one says anything, it won't get done.
Do you think that they give us an update in the crunch this week?
I think so. This week,
Yeah,
100%.
I
We've
do.
got to get something.
I mean,
What
they
do you think
responded
is
in that
likely?
post, but
I think they dropped the DLC price.
Do?
I think the opposite. I think they're going to stand firm on the price.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right, to be honest. I'm giving them too much credit.
And the reason for that is because the publisher is setting that price. It's not Wildcard. It's going to be Snail saying, we want this game to sell for this much.
Yeah, you're right. And they just don't have the same connect that Wildcard has to the community. You know, they're just suits, and they don't see it.
As much as I wanted to drop and the price be cheaper, because I think that's what it should be, I don't see it. Based off of the post that Jack made, I don't see it, because he's saying that it's costing them more than what they thought. So it's they're obviously going to charge.
Yeah, that's true as well. We have that post from Jat, which is new, saying that they misspoke and they needed to cover costs. So yeah, that you're probably right. There's more to it. Like,
I think they can adjust. I don't know that they will. I think the two biggest things for me are they need to address the fact that they're going to make us buy the DLC to play day one currently. I think that's a problem. And even if they don't reduce the price, but instead they shift the cost from that DLC to the main bundle, like, obviously I don't want them to do that, but I think the bigger deal is forcing me to pay a DLC day. Play a game where there's only 2 maps. Like, it's not like there's going to be 7 maps, you know what, and I have to buy 3 of them. It's literally, there's 2 maps, and I have to buy one of them separately. It's dumb. That doesn't make any sense. So I think they need to address that. And then if they're gonna do these dumb bundles anyway, then bundle in the brand new DLC and the 4 new dinos for the end of the year. Just put that in one of the bundles.
Yeah.
And then I think you start to see a little bit less. So, I mean, do you think that if they decided to sunset official servers Arc 1 for, say, six months, does that change? Does that ease the pain?
No, because people won't play for the last 6 months when they know it's ending anyway. But it's just the whole premise of them just killing a game that's still got players to force them across to another one. No matter how.
Not to mention, like, isn't Arc like one of the top 10?
Yep, it's still up there, like 75,000 daily concurrents.
How many of those are official though? Probably not even.
Not that many, but
so
everyone's still going to come across.
Dip, really.
No one's going to be playing Arc 1 though when the new Arc comes out, are they? Do you think?
Sorry, what did you say?
No, you reckon people will still play Arc 1 when Arc Ascendant comes out?
I think in the beginning they will. Waiting to see if it's going to be good.
Waiting to see,
yeah, you can buy that bundle for up to a year, basically. So I think some people will wait and see. I don't think anybody playing PvP waits, because there's just literally no.
Yeah.
you don't want to not start day one if you're going to actually try to play PvP or
Yeah.
they have small tribes.
Yeah. Well, I think this has been productive. I've got to go get some lunch, but thanks for having me, Willie. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
And,
You probably have done more work, like pointing out the snail connection than anybody.
I'll convert you one day, Willie.
We'll know,
I'll get you. I'll do some
listen,
digging.
I tell you what, I'm gonna start crafting myself a tinfoil hat. But I think we're gonna. I think we'll know when we hear the update.
Yeah.
Or the lack of an update.
We'll do another one. Yeah.
And I might start putting that tinfoil hat on.
Mm-hmm.
If we hear jack shit, then it's
that's
like,
when you know. If you don't get, that's it. That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do another stream and see what happens in a week's time or something.
For sure. Well, hopefully they do it this week. I think you should 100% make a statement by this week, by Friday, by a week after. But I think if you have a maximum of 2 weeks.
Maximum.
Before,
and they might take the response that they did yesterday as their response too.
I mean, that's only responding to literally one small part. People are bitching about a lot of stuff here.
I know.
A lot of problems with it that you're not hand waving away by saying Jeremy misspoke, basically, or we.
Yeah.
Maybe he meant to say she.
But whatever happens, it's going to be interesting. That is for sure.
Yeah, I think probably here's I'll give you my long-term hypothesis. I think it comes out, everybody enjoys 1.5. Probably eventually, I think it comes out. It's probably gonna be rough in the beginning, as they've been trying to figure out the UE5. I think it gets to a playable spot where we're all kind of happy, sort of forget about it, and then the real question, I think this is just getting in the way of the real question, which is how shit is Arc 2 gonna be for somebody who loves Arc?
Yeah.
I think that's what. I gotta be honest, I'm pretty nervous after they like tripled down on there. We're doing it this new way, no matter what you want.
Yeah, 100%. Scary times. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
Well, listen, thank you guys very much for being here. I do appreciate it. It was an interesting conversation for sure.
Yep. Thanks for letting me join.
We'll definitely do it again whenever there's more to talk about.
Sounds good.
All right, fellas. You guys have a good. Well, you're gonna have a good day, HOD, because it's like noon for you, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna go touch some grass.
Yeah, I'm going to touch some bed sheets.
Yep, me too.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.
Later.
All right, hold on, chat. Oh man, it's so interesting because when I look at at what HOD points out, and I look at the the various things with Snail, all of it is possible. It's all possible. It could be any number of those things. But it's just so, I mean, that's the whole thing. There is so many options. It's hard to I don't know. It's hard for me to want to buy into I don't know how to put it exactly. I think there's so many possibilities here, from incompetence to being in a hurry and not being careful to all the things that HOD says it is. I think there's too many options. We can't really narrow it down yet. My heart hopes that they just flubbed it and it wasn't Snail Games. I hope genuinely I hope that HOD is wrong, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's 100% correct. So, yeah, I don't even know. What do you say? Hey, chat, hold on. Let's do this real quick. Give me, let me. Let me. A little bit late. 5 and dime. Where is? Oh, when she's mine. Okay. There you go, chat. We started a poll. Where do you stand, chat? Is everything Snail Games and She High? Is it all She High and Snail Games? Can we just write off Wildcard or the good guys here? Wildcard wants to do the right thing in every circumstance, but it's just evil She High and Snail that's the problem. Oh, we should have a both. Well, we're just gonna assume all of you said both. It's the BOD weighing in on Wildcard. What is the BOD, bro? Yeah, I guess I'm not sure. We'll call that both. All of the above, true. Oh, board of directors. Got you. Okay, okay. So a lot of you are kind of on the fence with me. Like, it could definitely be She High and a Snail, but it could just as easily be Wildcard. It's very interesting. Very interesting. All right. The real question is, how many of you are buying it? How many of you are buying 1.5 no matter what? Atlas 2 win. I don't think that's the real question at all. I think that's a horrendous question. Yeah. You want to see gameplay on the new engine first? I mean, Mama Bear, you know you gonna play it. Only gonna buy it if they publicly apologize and fix the pricing. Zach, what is the pricing that you're okay with? Give me the pricing. $50 all in. Tree. How about Tree Fitty? 50 all the way. Okay. Zach, what do you play? Do you play official PvP, unofficial? Do you play PvE? Yeah, it's really fucked up for PlayStation users. I agree. You get it for free guarantee. Where have they improved? You mean, what have they talked about the improvements? Are they going to enforce? We know the answer to that. We know the answer to that, I think. That's the punishment for having a PlayStation. Yeah, I'm with you, Zach. Yeah, I hear you, Twisted. I hear you, bro. Yeah, this really sort of screws over console players extra. You don't like the bright ass white screen? Hold on. Hold on. Let me see if I can get you one. Is that better? There you go. All right, chat. Well, listen, I'm going to get out of here. I'm still getting over the last bit of this sickness. Hopefully, we're good to go tomorrow, and I just am over it completely. But I'll probably have a little leftover cough like I have tonight. But I'm feeling much better. Unfortunately, I passed it on to my wife, so that's not good. But yeah, hopefully we'll feel better. But thank you guys for hanging. I hope at the very least you found it interesting, the interesting conversation with HOD and Dew. I appreciate them coming on. I think the cool thing for me is somebody who enjoys the idea of conspiracy theories. I think that there's some very interesting possibilities here, bro. I would say that it's probably just as likely it's a crazy conspiracy as it is that it's not. It's just so interesting. I just wish we had the proof for sure. But I know WildDew will keep digging and we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? You got some, but I'm gonna need well, hit me with the best you got right now, Omni. Go, Omni. Give me one. Let me see if I need to put on the tinfoil. By the way, guys, thank you so much for the follows, the subs, gifted subs, biz donations, all that shit. I know, like I said, we had the alerts turned off tonight for the conversation, and I didn't want it to interfere with the conversation. So if I missed it, I apologize. But thank you very much. You just call my name and I'll be there. We're originally from Mars. We are the aliens. Oh, shit. Well, chat, if you didn't know, Omni is, he's one of them California hippies. So, if you're wondering where he came up with that idea, well, I think you can probably figure that out. I'll look into it, Omni. Maybe we are from Mars. Maybe that's why Elon wants to go back to Mars so damn bad. He's trying to go home. Maybe he's trying to go home. All right, chat. I love you. I'm going to quit talking before I really fuck up my throat again. You guys have a great night. We'll catch you tomorrow. Boo!